It is 10:01. Good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. One game remains in NFL wildcard weekend as the Patriots shut down the Chargers last night with a 16-3 win. The Rams, Bears, 49ers, and Bills also moved on to the divisional round. Tonight, the Pittsburgh Steelers host the Houston Texans. The winner will travel to New England next weekend. Kickoff is at 7:15. You can hear the Westwood One coverage right here on The Zone. In the national championship game is set. Indiana routed Oregon 56-22 on Friday. They take on Miami at Hard Rock Stadium a week from today. The Titans coaching search continues over the course of the weekend. The team has met with former Cowboys coach Jason Garrett, former Browns coach Kevin Stefanski, and former Falcons coach Raheem Morris. Albert Breer has reported that the Titans are one of 4 potential landing spots for former Ravens coach John Harbaugh. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What a weekend of football. Electric. College football playoff. Electric. Wild card weekend. Electric. From start to finish, a bit of a clunker last night between the Patriots and the Chargers, as Lucas said, but we have a national championship set, and we have a very interesting collection of divisional round games that will be set in stone once the Steelers face the Texans tonight. Hope you had a spectacular weekend. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate at any point. The F&M Bank chat is open for business if you would like to let your thoughts be known there, where I'm greeted by several comments about the Indiana football team routing Oregon, getting ready to go to Miami, where the University of Miami will host. Somebody says, happy for Buck, even if he'd give away the Indiana football team to be relevant in basketball. Again, I will tell you, for my first Indiana football game, I understand why people fall in love with college football. Just getting to experience that atmosphere like that for my alma mater one time. That was sick. I've never been so proud of something I've never had any level of attachment to in my life whatsoever. But my God, was that an ass whipping by the Indiana football team. Curt Cignetti and Fernando Mendoza, the whole lot of them. Just great, start to finish. What a time.
Quit acting like you haven't been around college football for years. We've literally been to Neyland Stadium multiple times for raucous environments.
That doesn't mean anything to me. Like, it's cool.
Well,
this
doesn't mean anything to you.
No, but it does.
Oh, you've made it abundantly clear that it doesn't.
Yeah, until I'm riding down, what is that, Marietta Street by Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and it looks like Kirkwood in Bloomington. Like, I don't know what the main strip is in Knoxville, but Kirkwood is the main strip in Bloomington.
Yeah, Cumberland.
Kilroy's is, so everybody has like that one strip of their college town where it's just an overwhelming amount of your alumni base and your fans and all these different things. And I'm telling you, like, I'm not a romantic about sports whatsoever, but like I was genuinely, I don't know, it just felt so cool to see the streets of Atlanta completely taken over by Indiana football fans. And for the first play of the game to be a pick six, and yeah, Oregon drives down after that, they score a touchdown. So maybe you're feeling a little bit threatened at that point in time, but the rest of the game was never really in question. I'm telling you, Lucas, like that for once actually meant something to me.
I am, despite your fake fandom, amazed by this football team.
It's awesome.
I'm in awe of what Curt Cignetti has done in the way that they don't have the intention of beating their opponent. They have the intention of like ripping their heart out with their bare hands and eating it in front of them.
Kalima.
Fernando Mendoza,
Indiana Jones style,
is in this game for how long in the second half?
Oh, I mean, I almost all the way through. It was crazy.
And like, I don't think it's like a spite thing. I don't think that's because Curt Cignetti likes to have an edge and wants to run it up on his opponent. I just think it's their process. It's just their process. We don't give a damn what the score says. We're just going to dominate as long as we have the opportunity to dominate. And that's what they've done. And despite the fact that that game is going to be at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, I bet you Miami fans will be outnumbered by Indiana fans.
It was 95-5 at Mercedes-Benz. 95% Indiana fans. The biggest, most condensed section of Oregon fans. And listen, I get Oregon. It's a little different, right? It's a cross-country trip. If you're going to go to anything, it was probably one of the first-round games. Maybe you went to the game that they hosted against JMU in the college football playoff. So maybe it's an easy thing to say that Indiana fans are just going to overwhelm this thing the whole way through. But honest to God, Lucas, I had no idea that Indiana had the largest living alumni base of any college institution in the country. But sure as hell felt like it because the entire thing was filled with Indiana fans screaming the entire way through. Like, there was never a moment where the intensity from the fans dropped either. Like, they're carrying that over from the football team. And whatever you think of Fernando Mendoza, because he's a goober, right? Like, he's his voice cracks and he's a little bit of a, I mean, he's not a little bit of a nerd. He's clearly a nerd. He's a football nerd. But that dude's a killer. Signetti's a killer. D'Angelo Pons is a killer. Fernando Mendoza, a killer. Elijah Surratt. Look at me naming Indiana football players like I actually paid attention.
Just like, congrats. You learned a handful of names.
Brandon Flowers is a killer.
Who?
He's a lead singer for the Killers.
Okay, very good.
Buck learned a handful of names on Friday and
he's like, damn it, if Lucas asked me to name them, I'm gonna name them.
Spent the plane ride just reciting 5 names for Indiana.
It only took until the college football playoff semifinal for me to get in, but I'm in. I'm all in.
Fernando Mendoza is like, you ever seen the movie 13 Going on 30?
Is that a Jennifer Love Hewitt vehicle?
Jennifer Gardner. Okay, then Big. You've seen Big with Tom Hanks?
Yes, I have.
Like, that's what Fernando Mendoza is. He's like if a 12-year-old made a wish, I just want to be a college football quarterback. And that wish was granted. And he's like a little kid in the body of this college athlete that is just ripping it up. And every time he speaks or is, has a microphone put in front of him, he just sounds like a little kid. And he's reciting so much of the same stuff about brotherhood and we're together and it's all thanks to the man upstairs. But he just sounds like this giddy little kid that just can't believe he's in the position he's in. But when the lights come on, he's just an absolute assassin. He was near perfect in this game. He was flawless. And the fact that he just goes out there and just puts his foot on Oregon's neck and crushes it and then gets a mic in front of his face and he's just his goofy little self afterwards. I love the guy. I cannot help but be thoroughly entertained by Fernando Mendoza.
So I think and just to talk about it from a larger football context, there's no doubt that guy's the number 1 overall pick. Right?
Yeah.
Like he's out there doing the damn thing. He's been tested at every turn. And the route that they've taken to get here, this is the gauntlet, right? This is Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. This is Alabama in the Rose Bowl. This is Oregon in the Peach Bowl. And now they'll play Miami, who is technically the Cinderella of all of this, and will have, like you said, Lucas, I'm sure that there will be plenty of Miami alum, not just on the sidelines because they have many famous alumni, but plenty of people in the stands. I am convinced, and I will be there on Monday night for the national championship game at Hard Rock Stadium. I am convinced that Indiana fans will outnumber Miami fans at Hard Rock Stadium. If for no other reason than Miami is just a smaller institution and there's more of us than there are of them.
Oh, no, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for Miami fans to be outnumbered by Indiana fans, but they will. I have no doubt in my mind that will be a home environment for Indiana. It will feel like more of a homecoming for Fernando Mendoza, who is from Miami, surrounded by his Indiana fans, than it will for Mario Cristobal, who went to Miami, is from Miami, and is literally coaching in the stadium where they play their home regular season games. I think Indiana and Mendoza will feel more comfortable in that building next Monday than anybody on that Miami sideline.
Do you have Mendoza postgame, Robert? This is one of the it's a funny clip, but again, it just kind of speaks to who this guy is. Are you familiar with the Stoics?
What is that, a band?
No, it is not a band. It is why don't I let Fernando Mendoza explain?
Yeah, I would say delayed gratification is a concept that, was brought up by Stoicism and by the Stoics, and I think it's one of the greatest. It's one of the greatest attributes. If you're able to have delayed gratification, discipline in yourself, and discipline in your process and preparation, you're able to execute every single week like, this play or this game is the national championship game. Like, this game is the most important thing. And so I think that a lot of players and a lot of coaches and just everybody in Bloomington has done a great job of, upholding that concept of delayed gratification and discipline throughout all aspects of our lives. When there's a lot of distractions, and, especially with the Big Ten championship and, the Heisman and all the other things, I think our team has done a great job of keeping that delayed gratification at the forefront.
He's citing Greek and Roman philosophy.
Fantastic. What's his major?
I have no earthly idea. All I know is this dude is wired different, but he's wired to kill. And so Indiana opens up as a 7.5-point favorite over Miami. They deserve it. I think that's a big line. I think this looks way closer to the Indiana-Ohio State game in the Big Ten championship game, where this will be the best defense that Indiana has faced since that Ohio State defense. But it's awesome, man. I think this is the best possible matchup in the college football playoff, the national championship. You think?
Yeah, with no SEC involved, you get all the trash out of the way, get the two best teams that, no doubt about it, these are the two teams that need to play. And I don't understand why everybody's like, we need to expand to 16 so more SEC teams can get their ass whooped. Doesn't make any sense to me.
That does seem to be the next logical step here, is the CFP going to 16 teams. With what we've learned in the playoff, with how real this Indiana team is, how much of a buzzsaw they are, and how good Miami is in the trenches especially, then, yeah, given what we've learned over the last few weeks, this is probably the best possible matchup. It's going to be fun.
615-737-1045 is how you jump in at any point throughout the course of the show. If you have thoughts on the national championship matchup, if you have thoughts on Wild Card Weekend.
I'm curious, how does this work? Do you hand in your Notre Dame fandom and then just take it back whenever it gets flipped?
I will. I
can only assume that whenever Indiana...
Because I am the definition of a bandwagon fan. I will not dispute this.
When Indiana dips and Marcus Freeman has Notre Dame back in the playoff, that you will just flip-flop again. That is my assumption.
I feel like if Indiana wins the national championship, you have to, live on the air, renounce your Notre Dame fandom.
I can do that. If Indiana wins the national championship and if Curt Cignetti does not leave with Fernando Mendoza to go coach the Raiders next year, listen, I'm a Curt Cignetti fan. Like, wherever that dude is, wherever that dude goes, I'm a Fernando Mendoza fan. Wherever that dude is, wherever that dude goes.
His fit in Vegas is going to be hilarious.
Crazy.
Like, what does rookie dinner look like in Vegas with Fernando Mendoza?
What do he and Max Crosby possibly have to say to one another?
What can we talk about?
I will say I'm a little jealous of your fandom right now, because right now you're getting all the tickets. You're getting the golden ticket to the chocolate factory, and you have all the positives of being a fan and none of the negatives.
I get no blowback whatsoever. I don't have to suffer at all whatsoever. I'm telling you, Robert, whatever the two of you had at the Music City Bowl, I promise you the Peach Bowl setup was 10 times
Robert,
that.
I disagree with you there, because that leaves just an empty feeling. Like, you can rejoice and enjoy the championship, but there's no way to truly enjoy something, like organically, deep down to your core, enjoy something, unless you've been through the pain
I believe that
led to that moment, right? Like, Tennessee fans, if the Vols ever get to the mountaintop in our lifetimes, what percentage of Tennessee fans will drop to their knees sobbing because of the pain that it took to get to that point?
For sure.
You didn't experience any of that. So, like,
but
it's
nobody did.
Yay, we won. But
nobody did. Like, did you hear Mark Cuban talking about this? Mark Cuban doesn't go to Indiana football games. All of a sudden, he's giving them millions upon millions of dollars. Lucas, when we were in college, they made shirts that people would wear to the tailgate that said game time is nap time, because you go home and you watch Notre Dame or the SEC. Like, this is the most improbable in any other situation. If you're a Cubs fan, right, and you waited 100 years to see your team win the World Series. Exact same thing that you're describing. Vols fans, 1998, the last time they win a championship. Completely understand why people would be physically moved to tears by this situation. I think the entirety of the Indiana fan base just gets to coast off vibes, because there are some people who I'm sure have been Indiana season ticket holders. They made us. I don't know how this worked at Tennessee, but like, when you're an Indiana student, if you want Indiana basketball tickets, which of course everybody wants, you have to also buy season tickets to football. Like, they make you buy season tickets to football. Whether you choose to use them or not is completely different. But I think it's very unique to this particular fan base that everybody just gets to coast off vibes.
Yeah, but I think most people hopped on before they reached the national championship game like you.
For sure. No, I mean, most people hopped on last year, to your point.
Yeah, last year when suddenly they were real and they were going to the college football playoff.
But like Dawn's husband, Travis, I feel good for him.
Yeah.
I want Travis
Has been in the whole way
I feel like he's been through some pain.
He has been riding and dying with this Indiana team. Like, selfishly, I want you to have to feel the suffering of the sting of loss, the sting of disappointment, the sting of not reaching the heights that you thought. But then I know Travis would have to hurt for Buck to feel that feeling. So, like, the juxtaposition of both of you, like, am I willing for Travis to hurt so you can understand?
Yeah, but Buck doesn't have football team is so good that even I can't make them unlikable.
Well, Buck doesn't have any actual, like, emotional ties to this. Like, if they win, he'll coast off of it. If they lose, he never had any ties to it to begin with.
No, if I go down to Miami for the national championship, I'm going to be disappointed if they lose.
Yeah, you'll be over it the next day.
No, I don't think so. I think that, like, the mystique of this, like, the thing that you and I talk about, why it is so special, is because it can suck in anyone. And I hope that it has sucked him in enough that he can get caught with his pecker in the fan this weekend and realize, oh my God. Yeah, is this what regular fans have to go through?
If that's the worst thing, you get stuck with your pecker in Miami, then you're doing okay.
I think it could be worse.
I hope Indiana wins. To cap this story, winning in Miami, Mendoza going back to his hometown. You know, he went to the same high school as Mario Cristobal.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You just can't make this stuff up.
Think about this, though. If Indiana wins the national championship, and obviously we'll talk about the national championship as we get closer to the game. If Indiana wins the national championship, Indiana University will have the last undefeated men's college basketball team and the only undefeated football season in the history of the college football playoff.
Yeah, nobody's done it yet.
It's an insane thing.
And the expanded playoff, nobody's done it.
Correct. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's talk a little bit about Wild Card Weekend because there was a lot of fun in the NFL, and we will conclude it tonight. But there is some fallout that is worth monitoring if you are invested in the Titans coaching search, and we'll tell you what that is coming up next. Nothing worse than an electrical, plumbing, or HVAC emergency, especially now that the weather has officially turned cold. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost, or if it'll get fixed correctly, or if someone is just trying to sell you something. When you call Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, their experts are going to solve your problems quickly. The price you're told is the price that you'll actually pay. There's no hidden fees or surprises when you get your bill. Hiller has been in business for over 35 years and is family-owned and operated. The techs are professional, experienced, and trustworthy. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time. No more wasting time waiting around. 100% satisfaction guarantee of happy you'll be, or the service is free. That is the Happy Hiller promise. So book online now at happyhiller.com.
National championship game is set. It was a wild card weekend in the NFL. There are quarterback developments in the SEC that directly impact Tennessee's search for its next starting quarterback. Welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, and there is fallout from the NFL opening round of the playoffs when it comes to the coaching carousel and potential dominoes that could fall. We'll get to all of that, but back to the phone, 615-737-1045. As Buck basks in his bandwagon fandom, Jerry, who sounds like a real Indiana fan, calls in from West Nashville. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How about them Hoosiers?
I'm saying.
So it's unreal. So I was at the game, Mercedes-Benz, 95-5 IU fans.
Yes.
Completely took over. It was unreal experience. But I graduated in 2011 from IU. So, Buck, we used to call home games just you go into the tailgate, and it was all just about the tailgate. And, sometimes we'd go in and you'd leave by the end of the first quarter because your buzz was gone. Go home and take a nap. You're right. But the biggest thing about IU and just the I'm trying to put it into perspective with Tennessee. So, like, Tennessee won in 98, right? So you guys – Tennessee has always had expectations of being good, and they've been good here and there, top 15, top 10, and they've, gotten beat, and that's the heartbreak that kind of comes along with it is the fan base is hopeful and, expects to be good. IU has never expected to be good. So, the fan base is now in this, we're the best. And you go from, super cold to super hot, that there was really no extreme heartbreak because you didn't have the expectation of being good. So it's this is new uncharted territory for all IU fans. Everyone's living on this cloud of, being, up in the sky. That's the Tennessee fan base will always have that heartbreak because they finally reached the top and they were good. And that expectation kind of leads up every year, where now hopefully IU will have that type of expectation moving forward. So
thank you for the call, Jerry.
Yep.
Go Hoosiers. I know this is a foreign concept to you, but
No, I get what he's saying.
How many people need to tell you this for you to understand that, they have never experienced pain because they have never had to care about that football program ever.
I get it. Believe me. And you would have to be a true psycho to, throughout the course of your life in Indiana fandom, be locked in to every Indiana football season pre-Kurt Signetti. I totally get that.
And not even pre-Kurt Signetti, because they've had players, right? They had Tevin Coleman was a good player at Indiana. The Curtis Rourke, that was the first year that it actually turned into something.
Go on. Name another Indiana player.
Nate Sudfeld was the quarterback while I was there for a period of time. He ended up being a good player. They've had teams under, I want to say the coach was Kevin Wilson while I was there.
Nick Westbrook-Akine. Yeah, it goes on.
I think NWI was after me. But seriously though, if you called NWI, hell, we should have Roger Saffold on the show. We can get a hold of Roger Saffold, another Indiana alum who made it to the NFL. There's not that many of them, famously. There's going to be a hell of a lot more now. But if you asked Roger Saffold if he's ever seen a crowd in his life whilst playing at Indiana like that, as a guy who was a first-round pick in the NFL draft, he would have told you, I've never seen that many Indiana fans, period.
It's got to be one of the most unique fan experiences in college football history. Just this sort of untapped football fan base that is there for basketball and has this wide-ranging alumni base, but suddenly you're just on the map, and you're on the map in the most serious, competitive, dominant way possible, and everybody looking around at each other what the hell's going on here? This is amazing.
Truly. They genuinely don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah. So
but
it's
now that safety is gone. The safety that he's talking about, we never had expectation. That's over with.
That's true.
You can never go back. You can't put the pickles back in the jar after a season like this. You guys will have national championship aspirations every year that he is there.
Yes,
it's possible now.
For sure. But the beauty of this is there is no such thing as BHS. There is no battered Hoosier syndrome.
Not in football. I get that.
Not yet.
Well, in basketball, it's real. It's real as hell. And as I watched my basketball team lose to Nebraska after I landed from Atlanta on Saturday, I was very unhappy about that entire situation. But that football team is so good. Robert, you have seen me watch Indiana basketball while we do primetime. It is the one thing that I care about in my life as a sports fan, genuinely care about. And I'm telling you, the feel-good from Friday night was enough to almost make me forget how much I want that basketball team to win, because it is so overwhelming. The power of something like that. Lucas, this is... You can accuse basically every Indiana fan of being an Indiana football bandwagon fan because they are currently They're creating a fan base in real time.
No, I get what you're saying. Although I will say most of them probably weren't rooting for Notre Dame directly against Indiana last year. But Ann in the F&M Bank chat says...
I bet it's a bit of a bigger split than you realize.
She says, this is your Music City miracle and your 1 yard short Super Bowl. Now, I don't know if Ann is just saying that and projecting that Indiana is going to lose in heartbreaking fashion. But if I have to think of any comparison, I do think about the folks that were here in the middle of their football fandom when the Titans arrived.
Yeah.
And there's no heartbreak to precede it. It's just, oh, we have an NFL team now. Oh, and they're good. Oh, and they're going to the Super Bowl. And you're just riding this wave.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, that ended the way it did in the Super Bowl against the Rams, and that created that first huge heartbreak for Titans fans, and then you build on that foundation moving forward. But the foundation that this will build for Indiana's fan base moving forward on the football side will be a fascinating kind of social experiment in the world of college football. It's all just a movie you can't take your eyes off of.
And Miami is equally, I mean, maybe not equally. Miami is a bit of a movie, too. Like, this entire experience for them is crazy.
Yes.
I don't want to ignore the other side of things just because I'm, excited about the idea of being in attendance for Indiana football in a national championship game. Like Miami, they're not kicking everybody's ass the way that Indiana is. And maybe that defense, how do we feel about Reuben Bain coming off of a performance where he did have 6 pressures, but to listen to Ramon talk about it as we were changing shifts this morning, first thing Ramon said to me is, I wouldn't be as worried about that Miami front as you were against Ohio State, because if you wanted to point out where Reuben Bain's short wingspan popped up, it's right there in front of you against Ole Miss.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see his impact in this game. And then not only that, but Indiana has also become the most attractive landing spot for transfer quarterbacks, and for good reason. You've got your guy next year in Josh Hoover. Dylan Raiola has announced he's signing with Oregon. We'll see if he's the starter next year or not, depending on what Dante Moore decides to do. And then there's a bit of news as Sam Leavitt, according to On3 Sports, has committed to LSU. The Arizona State transfer was on campus at Tennessee last week. I don't know if you saw this, that he was flying down to Miami. Miami was prepared to make him a huge offer. And Lane Kiffin flew to Knoxville to intercept Sam Leavitt before he went down to Miami and meet with him again, because LSU looked like they were going to be in the running for the Washington quarterback that ended up staying at Washington. Been a big mess. Tennessee, a little bit back to square one when it comes to their options next year. The Joey Aguilar extra year of eligibility does not appear likely. Bo Pribula is sort of in those sweepstakes. We'll see. But that is the latest development, that LSU is landing Sam Leavitt. Meanwhile, divisional round is almost set.
Whoa. We're not just going to gloss over that. Like, we should talk about that. What the hell are you going to do?
I really don't want to talk about it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you don't want to talk about your school, the thing that you're so proud of, the thing that you're a diehard fan about. You don't want to talk about this?
I don't know what Tennessee is going to turn to at this point.
What's your plan at quarterback, brother?
Yeah, Joey Aguilar. It was reported that there's no final ruling. Oh, God, I just hate how nebulous this stuff is. But it is reportedly unlikely that he will return for another year of eligibility. And so you're looking at Bo Pribula, and you're praying that Joey Aguilar gets another year. Otherwise, you're totally back to square one, and you still have to go get another quarterback no matter what. You have to have a third body in that room. But could there be a scenario here where Tennessee is forced to turn to George McIntyre and Faison Brandon to battle it out for this season, which Vols fans have been pounding the table for, play the guys you recruit. But if those guys were ready, that's what they would already be doing right now.
Oh, no, we have to start our 5-star quarterback. Oh, no, what are we going to do? Oh, we either have to start him or another 4-star quarterback. Oh, no.
I don't know if I like
Bring Turdslinger back, dude. You need a third quarterback.
Did he land it? I can't remember.
No, he ain't gone nowhere. Don't nobody want Turdslinger. Tell him to come back, be the backup. Oh, no, we have to start our incredible 5-star quarterback who runs like a deer and is built like a Greek Adonis. Oh, no. Whatever will we do?
He's not ready.
They don't even know that. They don't even know if he's ready or not. He's been in high school.
He's not ready.
You don't know that. Let the boy watch or play.
I don't know if I like your Cheyenne voice better or your little kid.
Oh, no. What are we going to do?
I like the Cheyenne voice.
We don't have a quarterback except for the 5-star.
It is shameful that is how we are describing that voice.
She sounds nothing like
of
that.
Your
For the
lovely
record.
fiance
Well,
who
depends.
sounds nothing like that.
Yeah, sometimes she does.
She has a perfectly regular sounding voice.
What do you want to do for dinner tonight?
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where Tennessee turns here. Bo Pribula suddenly seems like the best case scenario other than Joey Aguilar.
Okay, so if this is going to be kind of the perpetual, at least this has been the portal experience for you so far, right? Where you're not landing at Tennessee. Well, they did. What's the name of the safety that they got in the portal?
Quay Moss.
Yeah, huge get, right?
Yeah, Chaz Campbell was the big get, the edge rusher from Penn State that was thought to be going to Ohio State. They've done nice work on the defensive side in the portal, I will say.
Okay, so they are having some success in the portal. It's not been a complete wash, but the most important position, the quarterback, is the thing that you have the most uncertainty about. And you have told me, whether we've been talking about this, I don't know that we've had this conversation on air, but you don't think that Tennessee is ever going to like spend that way in the portal on a quarterback. And I would understand the logic, because theoretically, if you wanted to do what Joey Aguilar did, you would go to a place like Tennessee to boost your profile. And I happened to catch a little bit of Ramon and Will, I don't know, it was just at some point last week, maybe Friday. And I think Will was talking about the idea that, comparing like that the Heupel offense is a knock on guys when they make it to the pros. But I think Will's point was, if you're Joe Milton or Hendon Hooker, did you have a chance to be a professional quarterback prior to going to Tennessee? Which I think is a completely fair and reasonable point, even if it gives you some level of hindrance at the next level. So in theory, if you're Tennessee and being like, yeah, but we're going to make you the best version of yourself, the statistically best version of yourself, why should we give you all of the money when you have yet to reach that, but we see that potential in you, we're going to give you this chance. I don't know, is there a certain point where Tennessee fans tire of that being good enough and say, no, just pay these kids? Like,
Sure.
Just go out there and pay these kids.
Oh, I'm sure there are plenty of Tennessee fans that are tired of that at the moment. But then you look at some of these numbers, man. Did you see this report that Miami was prepared to offer Ty Simpson $6.5 million to transfer to Miami instead of declaring for the NFL draft? And according to AL.com, he continues to receive NIL offers from Power 4 programs just trying to keep him in college. Josh Heupel, Tennessee, they're just not going to go up to that kind of number where the market kind of is right now for these premier starting quarterbacks. And I think there is some frustration there from Vols fans and that kind of lack of aggressiveness. But, yeah, you just had a quarterback lead the SEC in passing on $1.2 million. And Joey Aguilar, the best guys that have fit this offense are the kind of off-the-beaten-path guys, the Hendon Hookers of the world, who nobody knew about transferring from Virginia Tech. Remember, he came here under Pruitt. Wasn't even brought in by Heupel. Heupel inherited Hendon Hooker. And then obviously Joey Aguilar surpassed every expectation.
So what changed from like 2 years ago to now? Because I could be completely ignorant on this situation, but I thought when the transfer portal started and collective started, the conversation around Tennessee was, we can spend with the best of them. We have one of the best collectives. We have one of the most money. So what changed from the beginning of that to now?
Well, to be clear, I do think they are offering competitive numbers, but I do think there are schools that will always one-up them in that regard. Like, I don't know what Sam Leavitt is going to get at LSU. By all reports, Tennessee offered Sam Leavitt a very competitive number. LSU, I suppose, was able to outbid them. I don't know all the details, and we're not privy to all the details unless they're reported on and put out there for us to look at. But they have been aggressive defensively. They have. They've addressed a lot of needs. Jim Knowles clearly is an attractive notion for a player on the defensive side of the ball to come work with. They've brought in multiple former Penn State players that are familiar with that scheme. But, yeah, when it comes to the quarterback position, I don't know what their sort of breaking point is when you consider what they could accomplish with a quarterback that is a few notches down and use that money that you save there on another position of need. I don't know. We don't know all the details to it, but I don't think Tennessee is going to be one to go pay $6 million for a quarterback. We'll see.
Oh, did you not tell him to end the segment?
Yeah, I was getting there.
Okay.
I was getting there.
End the segment.
Hey, Lucas, Buck would like you to end the segment.
So there is still fallout from Wild Card Weekend, and there could be new dominoes in the NFL coaching carousel. Let's get to that next.
The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help you because you've got one life, and it's too short for not nows, maybe laters, and tomorrows. If you're noticing issues with ED or performance, then your relationships, your confidence, and even your career may have already been affected. Online folks promise convenience and discretion, but their treatments are generic and some even unsafe. Guys, no more excuses. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is the state's first men's health-focused urology practice. Multiple urologists and providers focused solely on male performance. No unproven snake oil or peptides without solid research. Since 2014, they've pioneered men's health in Tennessee and have been testing and growing to make sure you get the best care and the safest, most effective treatment. So call them today at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 right now, or book online in under 30 seconds at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. The best hot chicken in the world. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate. You are welcome to do so. Who had the most impressive win of Wild Card Weekend. Lucas, I cannot believe that the one game that you did not see was this Bears-Packers game.
Yeah, I had
this Bears-Packers game was outrageous.
Watching it back this morning with Robert, like the amount of just insane plays that happened in this game, from the amount of fourth down attempts that the Bears had and were unsuccessful with until the end of the game when it mattered most, to the Christian Watson soaring into the end zone, fumbling the football, Romeo Doubs recovery. I mean, just pure insanity.
Yeah, it was a crazy, crazy game. So, as we look at the bracket right now, the Bills, how about this? And maybe this is a stat that is less surprising because of who they would have had to get through to have a postseason road win. But were you as surprised as I was to find out that was Josh Allen's first postseason road win in Jacksonville?
It's like the Bills' first road win since like 1992 or something.
Yeah, 94, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we were talking about it with Brett Kern on Friday. Sean McDermott's never won a road game in the postseason.
He's now 1-5 on the road in the postseason. And I guess like the context is, but think of how many times they've played in Arrowhead.
Yeah, they've been also running their division too, so they've been hosting a lot of playoff games.
Yeah,
right.
This is like their first playoff game that wasn't in Buffalo or Kansas City since Nam or something like that.
For sure. But I just think that so often we, in our heads, look at that quarterback as a cheat code and say, surely he has a postseason road win. But no, not until the Jags. And we can talk about the Jags post-game press conference thing that was making the rounds over the weekend later this week. I don't want to waste time on that today. But Bills advance, Patriots advance. We will see who the Patriots host between the winner of Texans and Steelers tonight in Pittsburgh. That'll be curious. Bears advance as well after being down 21-3 in this game. Matt LaFleur, we talked about the idea of Matt LaFleur potentially being fired if they were to go to Chicago as a road favorite and lose. And they lost spectacularly. That is a spectacular loss. It sounds like, according to Ian Rappaport and Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network, that Green Bay is currently working through an extension with Matt LaFleur, so it was not an egregious enough loss, despite it being in the NFL's oldest rivalry to your most hated divisional opponent in Chicago. It does not sound egregious enough that they would be willing to move on from like Matt LaFleur, which I think most people would agree. I'm sure there's a good portion of Packers fans who are pissed.
All the ones I know are.
Sure.
Like, they want him gone. But he immediately vaults up right next to John Harbaugh, maybe a peg under Harbaugh, as the most attractive candidates on the market.
Yeah, he's not got the resume, right? But Matt LaFleur, if Nick Sirianni, who also lost at home this weekend, and we'll talk about Philadelphia here in just a second, but if Nick Sirianni, do you know where Nick Sirianni ranks all time among coaches in the NFL, like NFL coaches in history, among coaches with his win percentage?
Oh, that is pretty up there.
He's fifth all time. He's got the fifth highest winning percentage in the history of the sport. Matt LaFleur is 16th because many years they had Aaron Rodgers and they were just rolling into the playoffs with relative ease. But Matt LaFleur is also a good coach, and he's made the postseason 6 out of the 7 seasons that he's been the Packers head coach. I think most football fans outside of Green Bay would look around and be like, it is the right decision to keep Matt LaFleur.
Like, are we all in agreement? It would be insane to fire either Matt LaFleur or Nick Sirianni, unless, if you're Philly, you know you have John Harbaugh lined up.
No, I think it's okay to fire Sirianni.
I think that's crazy.
Why?
They had offensive issues this year, yes. But the idea that they cannot pivot and find a way to fix some of their inefficiencies, like they
Why can't the pivot being getting rid of the thing that's not helping you become more efficient?
Getting rid of the head coach that won you a Super Bowl a year ago? It just seems insane.
How many years after they won the Super Bowl did they fire Peterson? It wasn't that long.
1 year.
1 year?
But they kind of bottomed out a little bit.
Would you say that Jeff Lurie has a reasonable understanding of his organization?
Of course.
Like, I'm not, is he the best owner in professional football right now?
I don't know.
Just in terms of like actually dealing with his fan base, understanding that market's needs, understanding the kind of moves to be made, putting the right people in place. It does feel like Jeff Lurie is more adept at this than average, let's say, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. If you told me that the Eagles fired Nick Sirianni 1 year removed from winning the Super Bowl because at home they lost a game which felt pretty winnable. And, the lasting image of Nick Sirianni screaming at A.J. Brown on the sidelines in a game where A.J. Brown did not play his best game. By the way, okay, so let's do it this way. What's more likely? Is A.J. Brown not an Eagle next year, or is Nick Sirianni fired? Because I think they're more likely to fire Sirianni than trade A.J. Brown.
Oh, man. Yeah, he spoke on it after the game, obviously kind of
A.J. didn't.
Waved it off. AJ did not. Sirianni did. Said they have a special relationship, high emotions. This happens. I love him. All these things. I don't know. I mean, Kevin Patullo is one thing, but is Sirianni the issue in Philadelphia? Is he the primary reason why their offense just never seemed to get off the ground? And is the relationship just totally unsalvageable between he and A.J. Brown? If that's the case,
why does it need to devolve to that point? Like, why change for the sake of change is not always a good thing for sure.
Yeah,
but if you
to
feel
me,
like,
that's what that would be.
But if you feel like he's hit his ceiling and you got a Super Bowl win out of him, and you don't know how often that's going to, like, that may never happen again with Nick Sirianni. But you think there's potential to make moves and improve your football team. Are they not one of the most talented rosters in football?
Oh, they absolutely are.
You could do that with a lot of coaches.
To be clear, if you're going to turn around and hire John Harbaugh, I think John Harbaugh is an immediate upgrade over Nick Sirianni.
Why?
Because look at the resumes.
Okay, but if John Harbaugh, let's say that Tony Grossi's speculation on John Harbaugh's demands are even half right. Not even about the money, but about the personnel control, something he's never had in Baltimore. If you're getting a different version of John Harbaugh than you've ever had, does that make John Harbaugh the exact same coach that he was in Baltimore? Like all the things that are on that resume? That completely changes the dynamic of who John Harbaugh is if all of a sudden he's running personnel on top of everything.
If John Harbaugh is demanding to run personnel, fair enough. And that was the report we saw out of Cleveland.
It was speculation. It was a speculated.
Right.
Yeah.
John Harbaugh also is somebody that knows what it takes to win games, and I think understands the quality of general manager he would have in Philadelphia and the tools that he would have to win games in Philadelphia.
If you're John, you want that job.
I'd be very surprised if Harbaugh got a call from Philly and said, nope, get Howie out of there. give me all the controls. I'd be shocked.
Oh, for sure. But I think in this situation, Philadelphia has more leverage than Harbaugh. Philadelphia would be doing John Harbaugh a favor.
Yes.
By putting him in charge of that roster and immediately equipping him with a Super Bowl team after having just been fired. Philadelphia is the more attractive proposition here, not John Harbaugh.
And maybe it's just toxic in Philly, which it seems to get so quickly around Nick Sirianni, and the best thing for all parties is just to part ways. But then he, too, becomes immediately one of the best candidates on the board.
615-737-1045. So it sounds like LaFleur's back. We'll see what happens with Sirianni. Would any outcome surprise you? Like, if Nick Sirianni was fired, would you be surprised?
No, nothing surprises me in Philly.
Okay, so let's operate that way. We'll see what becomes of Nick Sirianni after losing at home in the postseason. You can say that the Eagles, that's who the Eagles have been all year long, and it just finally caught up to them in the biggest spot. But that's the most important thing to Philadelphia and the people that run that franchise. So, now that you have seen the way that the Bears came back against the Packers, was that the most impressive win of the postseason so far?
Oh, yeah. Has to be. Although the Patriots dominated last night and just smothered the Chargers. And the conversation there seems to be revolving around Justin Herbert. But that was an impressive performance in what I thought was going to be a highly competitive four-quarter game, and it wasn't necessarily the case. The Chargers were stuck in the mud for 60 minutes last night. But yes, it has to be the Bears. The year two leap, like the things that Caleb Williams jumped and improved on from rookie year to this year were on full display. He was phenomenal in this game. And it didn't come without his mistakes. Had a couple of picks. One of those was on an arm punt that cost Green Bay like 30 yards of field position. But Caleb Williams in crunch time was everything that you could ever dream your number one overall pick, dream prospect to be.
They've done it all year long in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
It's outrageous. Like, they're a completely different team, it seems, in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. In fact, the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken, the Eagles were the first team of Wild Card weekend. Up until the Niners-Eagles game, every team that was trailing at the 2-minute warning won the game.
Yeah.
And Philly came up short on a potential game-winning drive. It looked like it was setting up for it, too, as the Niners missed the extra point. Philly driving down the field, they come up short. And obviously the Patriots didn't even allow the Chargers back in the game.
The right answer is the Bears. They had the most impressive win. But, I mean, San Francisco, they did it without George Kittle. He's done for the rest of the season, obviously, and will be done next year.
Yeah, you got to wonder what that looks like for him long-term at the age of 32.
Well, especially in Achilles. But San Francisco's they're just rolling people. They continue to it doesn't matter who they throw out there. Kyle Shanahan, again, it's a regular season award, and I don't think he's going to win Coach of the Year. He, to me, is the Coach of the Year. For what he is doing, Vrabel deserves credit for turning things around in New England in part. That's much more of a one part Mike Vrabel, one part Josh McDaniels, one part Drake May type of situation than what Kyle Shanahan feels like he's, I don't want to say single-handedly doing.
I mean, the fact
that it's pretty crazy.
Also, though, the Patriots doing it without Terrell Williams.
Oh, Zach Kerr.
Zach Kerr just shifting play calling to your inside linebackers coach.
Who was here for like a week.
And the defense has only gotten better and better and better as the season has gone on. Now, New England has had some pretty good injury luck, right, this year. Like, what's the most dramatic? What's the most impactful?
Milton Williams and Will Campbell both were placed on injured reserve for a good chunk of the regular season, and they have since returned from injured reserve.
They're playing. And
yeah, they're back.
Christian Gonzalez.
And Milton Williams had the sack to end the game, essentially, last night.
No, he sealed that thing. And then Christian Gonzalez, Robert, you said his status kind of up in the air for the divisional round?
Yeah, he's being tested for a concussion after the game, and it's something to monitor going into next week.
I wonder what they saw, because he initially went back to the sideline with his helmet, and then apparently the people who monitor these things...
Yeah, they called it in.
They called it in from up top, so I wonder what they saw from Christian Gonzalez that was like, oh, that guy ain't moving right. We need to check him again.
By the way, Matt Stafford exercised the demons from that Carolina loss earlier this year.
That feels like 100 years ago, the Carolina game.
It looked like the Rams were going to roll in this game. Got a quick stop, quick, easy touchdown to Puka, and then credit to the Panthers. They stayed in it, went back and forth, but every game, man, every game was thoroughly entertaining up until the Patriots just didn't let the Chargers do anything, it felt like. Drake May was unbelievable.
Well, and he wasn't flawless, because that Hooper touchdown that he had, or the missed opportunity, it could have been a touchdown to Austin Hooper. Drake May just misses the throw. Like, there's a couple of moments where he wasn't perfect, right? He had the fumble where it just felt like he didn't recognize the pressure creeping up on him, and all of a sudden he's being whipped down to the ground, and the Chargers are able to create a turnover that way. Like, there were some moments where you could definitely tell it was his first time in the postseason. But again, that's why it's like a holy trinity of things coming together for New England, because you've got two coaches in Vrabel and McDaniels who are the stabilizing force there, who do have postseason experience, who have basically seen every scenario, both as player and as coach, that you could possibly have, and are going to help guide you through this thing.
Just finding ways to spark the offense with his legs. It felt like that opened up so much for the Pats in the second half, and Drake May already has something that Justin Herbert does not, a playoff win.
Choking dog, Justin Herbert. Ben Jones in studio next.
It is 11:03. Good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. One game left in NFL wildcard weekend as the Patriots shut down the Chargers last night 16-3 to move on. Rams, Bears, Niners, and Bills also moving on to the divisional round. Tonight, the Steelers host the Houston Texans. The winner will travel to New England next weekend. Kickoff at 7:15, and you can hear the Westwood One call right here on The Zone. The national championship game is set. Indiana routed Oregon 56-22 on Friday. They take on Miami at Hard Rock Stadium a week from today. The Titans coaching search continues over the course of the weekend. The team has met with former Cowboys coach Jason Garrett, former Browns coach Kevin Stefanski, and former Falcons coach Raheem Morris. And in college football news, On3 Sports is reporting that Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt has committed to transfer to LSU. Leavitt was on campus at Tennessee for a visit just last week. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second hour on a Monday, Ben Jones is in studio. Good to see you, Ben.
Good to see y'all.
So we'll talk some shop with Ben throughout the course of the second hour. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate there. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can leave your comments. At this point in time, huge weekend of playoff football, both college and pro. We get the wild card results. Was there any game over the course of wild card weekend that surprised you? It felt, I don't know, it felt outside of the Bears-Packers game, most of that fell to expectation. Maybe you would have liked a little more competitiveness out of the Chargers last night in a nightcap, but I don't know. It felt like most of the teams that you expected to advance are now going to play in the divisional round.
It's been...
Oh.
There he is, my guy. Yeah, I think the Rams kind of played with their food a little bit. Like everybody knew they were going to win that game. Panthers did everything they could to stay in it, and I think they came out a little. They started hot and kind of had a lull in there. I was like, is Stafford's hand messed up? Like, what's going on there? But they figured it out. Patriots dominated. Like, I did not think that was going to happen on defense last night. I'm like, you never know what Herbert if he gets time. And he didn't have any time.
Yeah, I mean, so what did you see from the rush plan that the Patriots had in that game for him? Because we came away, or at least we talked about this game heading in, the idea that Justin Herbert's been dealing with backup tackles all year long and that's bogged them down in a couple of different situations. But I thought the offensive line play for the Chargers was good enough last night. New England just was able to basically blanket one half of the field with Christian Gonzalez until he ended up leaving with at least he's being evaluated for concussion at this point in time. We'll see if he ends up being in the protocol the rest of the week. But what did you see from the rush plan that the Patriots had?
Yeah, it all works together from your DBs to your pattern and your linebackers. They never gave them the same look. Hey, we're going to light you up and do blitz zero. Next time it looks like blitz zero, and they drop to non-traditional Tampa. So that makes Herbert hold it. They run all the games. They get the tackles and guards on different levels, so they run in their pick stunts and getting sacks. So they never made it easy for him. And when you have corners like that, that makes everything better on your whole defense. You got Gonzo on one side. You went and paid your nickel, who's your returner also, and you went and got Carlton Davis also. So they went and spent money in the right spot, and Milton came back for them and was a factor for them in the pass game at the end of the game, getting some sacks, had 2 sacks, I think. So they're playing well. I thought that was going to be an issue for them. Like, hey, are they going to be able to get pressure? And if they do, are they going to have to bring the house? And they held up in the back end, and they look really good on defense.
What is a better matchup for New England in your mind that we'll find out who they play tonight,
Steelers.
Texans or Steelers?
Steelers.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to play that D-line in Houston. That's a defense you're looking at. You're like, wow. They have unreal corners. Their linebackers can fly around and hit. And the D-line's probably the best in the league.
Yeah.
It is. But they're not as good on offense. They got a bad O-line. Quarterback's still young. They don't really run the ball well in Houston. So it kind of balances out a little bit. So But that defense on Houston is elite.
We think this is going to be the ugliest game of the weekend, right?
Last night was pretty ugly.
Yeah, it was, 12 sacks at least?
Yeah, it was a grind.
3-3 or 6-3 at halftime.
It was a grind for sure. I don't know. I can't imagine that 42-year-old man is going to be having any
That ball
kind.
will be out of his hand.
Well, that's the thing. Like, what do you do beyond just get rid of it? Like, against that defense, like, how should the Steelers approach this? You know, Art. You know how Art wants to play, and obviously you have some variables in there with what Rodgers will do at the line of scrimmage and may put you in or help you work out some problems with. But like, they don't have to do anything to confuse you, Ben, as a defense. They just can beat you one-on-one.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get from Houston. They're going to play a 4-down front. They're going to be aggressive. But that's where the Steelers can come in and kind of go big personnel because they're not going to put an extra D lineman in. So you got to slow down the game. You're going to grind out these things. You cannot be in 3rd and long versus Houston. Like, hey, getting big people on 1st and 2nd down, throw quick passes out there to DK, get the ball to your running back out the backfield on passes. Don't sit there and try to hold the ball and take shots. Like, you're going to have to long drives, make it ugly, make them tired, and keep those pass rushers off the field. Because a lot of times you sit there and Danielle Hunter, he only plays on 3rd down a lot. Like they bring in the Tennessee DN, Barnett, and he plays a lot on 1st, 2nd down, who's been lights out for him. Like that is he's playing really good on 1st and 2nd down. So, Art, do what you do, formation them to death, go big people, make it ugly, and try to win 13-10.
Well, that's the thing. Nobody disputes the Texans' front is better than the Steelers' front. It's the best front in the NFL, save for the Broncos. Texans and Broncos are kind of in a category of their own.
Right.
But is Aaron Rodgers better equipped to handle what the Texans are going to throw at him as opposed to C.J. Stroud versus the Steelers? Steelers can get after the quarterback.
100%. I think it's going to be an ugly – I don't think it's going to hammer the under. I don't think these teams are going to score. It's not going to be a lot of scores unless it's some shot plays that happen through DK or Nico Collins. Other than that, I think it's going to be an ugly game.
615-737-1045 is how you call in with football questions for Ben Jones. If you would like to at any point. It's just always lurking in the background waiting for me. I'm curious to see how this game plays out, and obviously the winner of that will go to New England as they continue to have some level of home field advantage. The Bills beating the Jags and the way that game played out. Jacksonville's defense. It's a shame that we won't go. It's a shame we won't get to see the Jags honestly more in the postseason because I think they're a genuinely fun team.
Not such a shame.
I hate Jags.
I think it's perfectly fine.
Well, the two of you with your biases are allowed to hate the Jags. I was disappointed to see the Jags go out like that. Jacksonville's been playing good football. I've seen the Bills play football a million times. It's fun to have a little bit of fresh blood in the mix, but that's fine. Buffalo, it feels like, has to just wait for that Josh Allen magic moment to be able to sustain things, and he's good enough to do it, right, Ben? Like, there's not that many players. There may not be another player in the NFL like him, so maybe he just turns on the Mad Max of it all, and he can will them to wins at certain points. But, like, that one feels to me the most fraught, because if he even has remotely a lesser game than he's accustomed to having, I just don't know what they do. Like, they feel as one-dimensional as any team in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're playing to get a really good Jags defense. It was not a good matchup for them, and they found a way to win. They couldn't run the ball yesterday. James Cook is one of the best backs in the league, and they kind of just took that out. That shows you they're two really good backers the Jags have. They're good up front. So getting into this next round, they got to be able to run the ball versus Denver because Josh is not going to be able to do it all by himself. They got elite pass rushers. They got really good corners in secondary here. So the run game's really got to be huge for the Bills this week. But if they win this week, they beat Denver.
Well, that's the thing.
Ooh, that's when that favorite goes through the roof to win it all. If they win this week, they're going to be the favorite to win it.
That's the most interesting matchup of the division.
Well, and who's the pressure on in that game? The 1 seed hosting?
Denver.
100%.
I'd say the pressure's on Josh Allen.
No. House money Bills. House money Bills, because the thing like
they're playing for nothing to lose.
That's what I'm saying. Like the extreme that is the college football playoff bye and that rest versus rust conversation. I don't know what to do about it in college football. It happens a lot in the NFL too. I mean, not just like the Titans with the 1 seed the last time that happened with you guys in 2021, but the idea that Bo Nix is just going to come out after, not having played football for a week, and Sean Payton will have them ready for the moment, one would imagine. They will have some tricks up their sleeve. I don't think that Buffalo's just going to walk in there and dominate them, especially with that defense. But you are in way more of a pressurized situation at home with the bye if you're Denver, because everybody's going to be looking at Bo Nix like, all right, you got to go toe-to-toe with this guy. You got it in you or not?
How many times in Josh Allen's career is he going to have the opportunity to go through a postseason with no possibility of having to go to Arrowhead Stadium to have to outduel Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson?
He's got it. He's looking at it, he's like, this is my chance. This is probably the worst roster he has on offense to do it with. And I'm not counting him out. The kid is incredible. Like, he can make plays. He's tough. Like, they can run QB sneak, I feel like, every play. They're getting 8 yards. It was unreal.
I thought of you watching that play, that 10-yard QB sneak to set up the game-winning touchdown. That had to do something to you.
Oh, man, I was juiced up. I'm literally watching it from or through the side door of our house because my sons are out there riding their bikes. And I'm like, they're like, what are you hollering at? I'm like, he's just going to QB sneak from like the 10 and scored. And they're like, what? I'm like, y'all don't understand. That's an O-lineman's dream.
Football. That was awesome.
We'll talk more about Wild Card Weekend, and we will get into the national championship matchup. Well, I guess you guys are going to preview the Natty on Monday before the game itself, so we can talk a little bit about that. Indiana and Miami getting into the final game with Ben Jones coming up next.
It's been
Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. It is indeed Ben. It's Ben Jones. He joins us in studio for the remainder of the football season. By the way, we are very grateful that Ben and Nate and Brett all season long and Jason Fitz have lent us their time and talents throughout the course of the regular season for college football and pro football, and have decided that they will continue to make this show smarter throughout the course of the postseason. So the audience has really, really enjoyed it, Ben, and I know you know that, but I just wanted to make sure that we give you guys enough credit for the way that you have raised the level of discourse around here, because otherwise it'd be the three of us talking to Robert about traders.
I love Robert. I love that show.
Hey, we don't have to do a real segment here. We got 19 minutes.
You looked at him. You, Robert, looked at Ben Jones when you discovered that you both watched Traders together as if you were falling in love for the first time.
It was the Step Brothers scene. Like, did we just become best friends?
Do you want to do karate in the garage? Just a slow-mo montage of me and Ben cutting
Tell the
watermelon.
audience what that commercial break just looked like as you melted Ben Jones's face off with your Traders takes.
You guys were in there talking about something, and I said, bleep all that. Who do you think's going to win this season? And then we talked about the eliminations. We talked about the characters. Talked about how I want to apply for next year. Ben also needs to apply. We could be a secret alliance. We could go all the way to the end.
They would never know.
They would never know. They'd be like, these two redneck guys they're not together. Oh, I've never met him before. Would be incredible.
I cannot think of a more unholy alliance in the middle of that game than the two of you.
Former NFL offensive lineman Ben Jones and Nashville radio personality Robert Walsh.
Oh, I like that. I feel
Nashville radio personality.
that's exactly how they would sell
Robert
it, too.
Walsh.
Well, no, I would make them say Bert.
Bert.
It's like when they said Jordan. That's like when Jordan Rodgers was on The Bachelorette. NFL quarterback Jordan Rodgers.
Yeah. They could call me an NFL quarterback.
It's a loose term.
I will ask this question of Ben Jones and of Robert Walsh. If Indiana and Miami were characters on the show Traders, who would they be?
Very niche.
Who would I be?
Who would they be? Indiana and Miami. Do they profile at all with the program Traders? Is there an apt comparison?
That was a shot in the dark.
I feel like
I got something here.
Indiana. I feel like Miami would be Jam Jam on this season because if you're unfamiliar, Jam Jam was on Survivor. He's very eccentric. He runs his mouth a lot, similar to Miami. You've got what's his name doing the belt to ass
I've
on the
seen this
sideline.
guy
Michael
before.
Irvin.
Yeah, he won Survivor. So his mouth can get him in trouble. It has not yet, but it seems to be digging some holes around other people's suspicion of him.
Does he also celebrate when another trader is eliminated by taking his belt off and going belt to ass the way that Michael Irvin does?
It seems like he wanted to last week. That was my Jam Jam impersonation.
Natalie would be Indiana.
Oh, there you go. Unassuming.
Survivor, like she dominates in every challenge. She is the leader. Like, she's good.
All right.
Just quietly, just dominates.
Just dominates.
No frills. No. I mean, just dominates.
Dorinda would be Notre Dame because if you guys are unfamiliar, Dorinda, she was eliminated week 1, the first elimination of last season, and then she gets to come back this year and did not get eliminated, and I was very upset about it. That she would be the Notre Dame of traders.
So, speaking of Notre Dame and Miami, it's funny to imagine a world where people were actually making the case against Miami making the college football playoff. Because
I didn't want him in.
What? You didn't want him in?
No, Beck's there. I did not want him to
Oh,
win.
well, that's just personal rooting bias.
Well,
So you're all in.
college football is.
Yeah, sure, fair enough.
You're all in for
If
IU.
you can't win, you want the other team to be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I never want Georgia Tech to be good, ever.
But Carson Beck has been good in this
Yes.
postseason. And there have been some moments where, again, I don't know what you thought about Miami's approach against Ole Miss. It felt like they could have dominated more than they actually did if they just decided to grind Ole Miss down into dust. And that, you know, for them to not lean all the way in on that plan, given that they feel like they're able to run at will, and that's who Mario Cristobal wants them to be. Yeah. Anyway, it's such a good environment for Beck to be in because it's as balanced an offense, I think, as there has been in the playoffs around him, at least in the postseason. I know that there were some ebbs and flows to the regular season.
Yeah, he's looking well. The running game's really good. They got a really good back. Then when you need a play, you know they're giving it to Tony. Like,
that dude is unreal.
They're going to throw screens to him. They're going to take shots to him.
Lucas, he's a true freshman?
True freshman.
Yeah, true freshman.
One of my buddies texted me. I think he was like 11 or 12 when Carson got to Georgia. That tells you how long Carson's been in college
Oh,
football.
my God.
Because Carson got to Georgia in like maybe 2020, maybe around there.
He was there with Stetson. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the different age gap now. It feels like the NFL all over again. Like my last couple of years, I'm like 32, 33 years old, and I'm playing with 21 years old who used to come watch me play in Houston when they were 11. I'm like, it's time to go. Time to go.
When did that start setting in for you? When guys started to come into the locker room that you're like, oh, when I was doing this, when I was drafted, you were this old.
Like you're talking to people about like 9/11. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, 9/11. They're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, were you born? They're like, yeah, we were 2, 3. I'm like, Lord. All right.
Yeah, now you got guys born in like 2002, 2003 in the league.
These dudes that are being drafted now, born way after that.
So the experience of this, Indiana is one of the oldest rosters in college football this year.
Shows.
And it shows, right? Yeah. I didn't hear the broadcast of the game of the Peach Bowl because obviously I was there, but apparently a lot was made about the youth of Oregon versus the experience of Indiana. Was that apparent to you based on the way that Oregon, I mean, I felt, and obviously I'm surrounded by Indiana fans who are foaming at the mouth because pick six on the first play, everybody's losing their minds in the stadium, and the thing just continues to build throughout the course of this. Do you feel that the inexperience was the reason that Oregon kind of folded in that moment, or was it just a good game plan by Indiana's D? I mean, it could be a combination of the two.
Indiana was better in all three phases. They had a better offense, better defense, and really good on special teams. When you have a complete team, you're going to dominate. And Oregon had to come out, make a splash early. They didn't. And by that time, they were like, all right, this team is better than us. They whooped us at Oregon, and now that was a home game for Indiana. Like, you looking at the stand, you could hear them through I'm like, that's Indiana? Or is that Alabama playing? And that's what you're used to seeing, a red, and it's Alabama in the Georgia Dome. That looked just like it, and it was impressive. Where did y'all's fans come from? They're just skipping basketball season?
Well, yeah, they're like, we have a football team? I swear to God, like I saw people at like just on the streets of Atlanta that I haven't seen in 15 years, like dudes that you would run into at the bar in college and stuff like that. Like it literally felt like a homecoming in Atlanta. It was crazy.
That's cool.
It's crazy how it's flipped, and there's a real scenario where Indiana moving forward is a football school.
Yes.
Like from here on out, like for years to come, where the football program is a higher achiever than the basketball program.
The idea that Mark Cuban was holding out in the first year and now is like, take my money.
Yeah.
Take my money. I want my Peach Bowl t-shirt. I don't care how much it costs me. Take my money. Like that's the kind of, and Cuban's one of the wealthier alumni for sure, but they've got, like, Indiana has the pockets to play this game. They've just been dumping all of the resources into basketball for so long. All of a sudden, the athletic director and the team or the school president look around and be like, we can do what with attendance?
Yeah.
If we start winning at football? Oh, this is why Alabama is what it is?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of like Vanderbilt, right? Like, they've had a lot of what it takes to be a successful athletic department.
They're good in every sport but football until the last couple of years.
Yeah, and now here they are. But to you, what does Indiana's rise say to you about what it takes to build a championship contending team now? Because Oregon, for years, if I'm an Oregon fan, I'm looking around like, we've been building this thing for years now under Dan Lanning. Like top-tier recruiting classes, one after another, building a foundation, supplementing in the portal, doing all of the things you're supposed to do to have a high floor and be in championship contention. And they've won a Big Ten title. They're sitting here in the Final Four just a couple of days ago. But then Indiana flies in, and 2 years under Kurt Signetti, there they are as 8.5-point favorites to win the national championship. Like, with everything being in as much disarray as it currently is, how hard is it to you to find that balance between, okay, how much do we dedicate towards recruiting out of high school, building a foundation there, versus the transfer portal, and just trying to blend that all together and not have your toe dipped too much in one side?
Yeah, that's what's hard. When you're looking at all these programs, I think Oregon's doing it right. Moore went there, waited a year. Like, a lot of these guys won't do it, develops more. So they're kind of like building this thing to do something great. They're able to pay whatever they want. They have Nike money. They're able to get who they want in the portal. So I'm like, how are they not dominant? And that just shows you, that's what we always talk about. Like, Signetti has done something special. Like, is it the coaching aspect? Is he really good at recruiting? Like, how are they so dominant? Like, so fast. Like, it usually takes 3 to 4 years, it's not like they were going out and just getting everybody in the portal. Like, they're not going to get all this money, spending all this crazy money in the portal. How are they so good? It comes back to coaching. Like, you got to give them credit. They have really good coaches.
I thought, so this was after they beat down Alabama in the Rose Bowl. Daniel Jeremiah at the NFL Network had a tweet about what Curt Cignetti is doing to what Jeremiah described as excuse culture. Like, oh, the portal is crazy. This is unsustainable. Cignetti, whatever. We'll make it work with 3 stars. Oh, these kids, they're entitled. They want too much money. Okay, we won't do it. We won't do it with entitlement. We'll find our guys. We'll find what makes the culture work the best, and we'll just go out there and whip your ass anyway. It's still unthinkable to me because my entire thing, Ben, the whole season long with them this year, after they did what they did last year and then lost in the playoff to Notre Dame, is okay, the talent gap is at some point going to catch up to them. It caught up to them in that Notre Dame playoff game. It caught up to them against Ohio State in the regular season, not this season, but last. Well, they didn't play Ohio State in the regular season this year, but you understand my meaning. The closest that they've come is on the road at Penn State because Penn State has better players, and Mendoza and Amari Cooper go out there and they win the game. Like, it's...
Indiana has 3 really, really good receivers, good O-line, great quarterback. And they can run the ball. Like, that offense is serious. Like, I don't care how good Miami's D-line is. I think their secondary is not good enough to hold up long enough for the D-line to get there. That's why I think Indiana has such an advantage going into this.
7.5-point favorites in Miami.
Vegas knows.
In the national championship game.
They just don't make mistakes.
Well, even they, like, he had the fumble, but they were able to come back and get the fumble. Yeah. Like, it was just like the one thing that Oregon could have capitalized on, still ended up bouncing back into Indiana's lap.
They had 23 yards of penalties in this game. They had 10 yards of penalties against Alabama. By the way, Alabama had 5 yards of penalties. 1. That shows how dominant that performance was. Wasn't like Bama was holding themselves back. Indiana just belt to ass, as we say. They haven't had a turnover yet in the college football playoff. Ben, they are making us question everything that we thought to be true when it comes to winning big in college football. No, you have to do this, and then you have to do this. It used to not be that complicated.
Yep.
As recently as a year ago, when Ohio State was cruising to a national championship, we all kind of got back to square one. Okay, yeah, you just have to have the best players.
Yeah,
it's not that complicated. And now here they are complicating it again by doing it in a way that just boggles the mind. And it just has to come back to Curt Cignetti, right? Like, he is the one outlier in all of this. And people are going to bash, programs across the country are going to bash their heads against the wall looking for that. And they're never going to find it because there may never be one like Curt Cignetti.
Yeah, when you're looking at those stats, like, yes, the biggest transition was he got Mendoza. I saw a stat that he hasn't turned the ball over in the red zone. He's like 37 touchdowns passing, 8 rushing. That's elite. Over the past 2 years for Mendoza, like, you go and get, who your guy, you target, and you get him right away.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're one of the few teams that do that. Like, hey, I don't have to get the biggest name in the portal. I want my guy, and I'm getting him. And I'm going to go out and get that puzzle piece I need. Like, hey, is it an O-lineman that fits my scheme? Is it a receiver? Like, I feel like they do a great job of picking out who they want. He fits our culture, and they go out and get him. Like, don't have all these recruiting visits and those guys are just trying to get more money. Tennessee, give Ty Simpson like $10 million and try to win it. Tell him to go in the portal, bring him home, bring him back to Tennessee.
It's been tried. Have you seen this figure?
That's the thing that I would ask the two of you. What the hell does this do to the SEC? Because, like, I'm looking at Cignetti, and again, Nick Saban is the greatest coach in the history of college football. So I'm not going to say that Curt Cignetti is capable of doing what Nick Saban did, because Nick Saban coached in a completely different era, even though it was just a couple of years ago. But what the impact of Cignetti can be with, like, Nick Saban just getting people fired year after year after year because you're chasing Alabama and you can't catch him because you don't have Nick Saban. Cignetti feels like he's going to have that impact on college football writ large, and it's going to send the SEC spiraling because you can't find another one of these guys.
Yes.
He's got to do it again. Like, to be Saban, like, it was easier to build a dynasty when you couldn't transfer, you couldn't go get portal guys. If he can keep this going with this crazy football, how you can transfer in the portal, that's more impressive. Like, Saban, yes, you build a culture, you win right away, you're going to be good for a while if you stick with it. But doing it in this portal age, like, That's what I said. Any NFL coach, go get the guy. Like, hey, make him prove that he can't do it in the NFL.
Why do you think they haven't? Because there's no, and again, maybe people aren't. Maybe his agent Jimmy Sexton is saying, don't bother talking to him until they're done with the playoff. Like if once they get through the national championship, for sure. Like he does not seem like the type to entertain.
Yeah, he don't
this
want
kind
any
of stuff.
bad media, any distractions. And that's what you want. Like, I'm sitting back as a player.
The anti-Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, it's like I'm looking at a NFL. I'm like, that's the guy. I'd be like, I don't know how he translates, how he sits down in the media with the owners. Is he good at interviewing process? But he wins. Google me.
Google me.
What is?
We laughed at him.
I laughed at him. I was like, this guy's a joke.
We laughed at him when he showed up at halftime of an Indiana basketball game as his first appearance since getting hired. Said, Purdue sucks.
Ohio State.
But so do Indiana, or so do Ohio State and Michigan. And we're like, who the hell is this guy?
Everybody's like, yeah.
Oh, that's cute. All right,
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see in the first quarter, coach. And then, we'll go home and we do what we always do for Indiana football. No, turns out, guy's insane.
What is the DEFCON level right now for the SEC?
I hate it. Like, we were so dominant for so long, and I feel like the Big Ten is doing really good at the top. Like, they have 4 or 5 good teams every year, and they just couldn't get over the hump where, like, you had your dynasty in Alabama, your Georgia, Clemson sprinkled it in there every once in a while. But other than that, it was Alabama, Georgia, and Florida for the last 20 years. Like, Big Ten was just an afterthought. They are doing really good. They have deep pockets. They can get players, and they can go get them every year, and they've done a good job at it. And the SEC beats up on each other all year. The Big Ten plays 3 or 4 hard games, ready to roll. They look like a fine-tuned machine once they hit the playoffs, which is hard to see.
Always good to have Ben Jones in studio. We will, I won't be here, but you guys will preview the national championship on Monday when next you come in studio. Always good to see you, brother.
You too.
Time to go. Time to go. It's Ben Jones hanging out there with us. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate. There was some information on John Harbaugh as he begins his interview process this week for NFL head coaching jobs, and the Titans were mentioned favorably. We'll tell you how coming up next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. 615-737-1045. That's the number you want to jump in. You are welcome to do so at any point. Brett Kern will join us. Well, Brett's already here, but we'll give him another 15 minutes before we start to pick his brain about the wild card weekend that was. There was a lot of interesting dynamics to some of these games, a lot of interesting and questionable coaching decisions, certainly special teams a factor in several of these games. I know Green Bay Packers fans are dropping their head into their hands after the field goal kicker has the night that he had. But we will get to that with Brett in about 15 minutes from now. In the meantime, there is John Harbaugh information as he begins his interview process. Now, apparently he's going to pick from 3 or 4 of these jobs and be selective about the interview process. He's at least the early reporting doesn't mean that it can't change, but the early reporting, and specifically from Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated, is that Harbaugh will go through this process. He's been watching tape on Jackson Dart and Cam Ward, and the 4 clubs that Breer says Harbaugh would make the most sense for: Dolphins, Falcons, Giants, and Titans at this point in time. Now, as we look at the situation, which one makes the most sense for John Harbaugh? Like, if you were John Harbaugh looking around, and, you know, I understand we have a greater depth of knowledge about the Titans job than we do any of these others, but we have the underlying principles. We know that the Falcons are in salary cap hell and don't have a first-round pick. We know that the Dolphins have the Tua contract that they're saddled with and just hired a new general manager, which was at least a part of the Harbaugh speculation. We know that the Giants are interesting, but that Joe Shane is there. And do you have the juice, if you're John Harbaugh? Yes. To push Joe Shane out if Joe Shane is not somebody that you're willing to work with. And all the different things about the Titans job that make it good, and the one thing about the Titans job that has made it bad, which is that you can't trust ownership right now.
So of those 4, you're saying?
Yeah. Which one, if you're John Harbaugh, would you be looking at objectively and being like, yeah, I can win there?
I feel like the question has to be met with a question.
Okay.
Right? What does John Harbaugh want out of this? Is he more looking for a ready-made winner where he can plug and play and compete for division titles in year 1? Or is he looking for more of a blank canvas to be able to put his fingerprints alongside a general manager in building out a team? Because of those 4, the Titans are the blankest canvas of them. Titans are the blankest canvas. The Giants are up there, but the Giants have parts and pieces. The Giants have young players on both sides of the ball. They have Dexter Lawrence. They have Malik Neighbors. They have Brian Burns. The Titans have the most work to be done on their roster at this point in time of those 4 teams.
So I guess it's what do you consider the canvas to be? Because if you're Atlanta, you have no head coach and general manager, so theoretically that is blank canvas from an administrative standpoint. From a roster standpoint, you are correct. The Titans have the most work to do.
Yeah, I'm talking about from a roster standpoint.
From a roster standpoint,
what you'll be working with.
Tennessee has the most potential because Tennessee has the fewest amount of players that you would consider to be foundational pieces.
Yeah, the youngest team of that group would probably be the Titans. So in terms of imprinting a culture and building out a foundation and trying to build a winner almost from scratch, that would be the Titans. Is that what he wants? Or does he like the idea of the Falcons having a say in who the Falcons go get at general manager, having a roster that is littered with talent on both sides, but with a huge question mark at quarterback?
Yeah. So let's look at it this way. We don't know the answer to that question about what John Harbaugh wants most, what he prioritizes in a job. Again, there has been speculation out there about what he wants as a salary and how much money he wants for staff and how much personnel control and say he wants that he didn't have in Baltimore. None of it is reported as fact right now. But if you're a 62-year-old coach that's been in one place for 18 years, you have a Super Bowl under your belt, do you really want to go to a place that's going to be long-term? Like, long-term in the sense that, yeah, it's going to take a couple of years to get there. Now, you're a program builder, right? That's your best attribute. What is the best? Robert, let me ask you this question, okay? Because I don't think anybody else is really equipped to answer this question. What makes John Harbaugh definitively a good coach?
Instead of program builder, I feel like that's more of like a college title.
That's fine.
He is the CEO type where he can handle everything and have his fingers on everything because he's not dictated to go with, well, I'm an offensive coach. Well, I'm a defensive coach. He was never an offensive coordinator, never a defensive coordinator. He's the type who can come in and run the ship. He can come in and say and delegate to people and understand where he gets in and where others get out at. I feel like that the CEO type of coach is dying out. The Mike Tomlins, the John Harbaughs, that's ceasing to be we want that kind of coach.
Owners are chasing trends.
Well, yeah, and the trend now is to have an offensive wonderkin or a defensive, hard-nosed DeMeco Ryans, Mike Vrabel type. You either lean heavily one way or the other. You don't straddle the horse anymore. You don't try to find somebody who can ride the line and do both things very well. Now you're trying to find someone who can do something exceptionally on either side of the ball. If you're into that and you need someone to set the tone for your team to come in and say, like, this is why we do things this way. No longer is it going to be, well, we do this because this is the way everyone else is doing it. No, we do this because it works for us. That would be the sell for having Harbaugh in.
Right.
Having someone who has experience leading and managing a lot of different personality types, that would be the move for him.
So if I'm the Titans, let's just say, what is the most important thing for your current situation? That, everything, the quality, the most important quality, the biggest quality that Harbaugh brings to the table, or am I right in saying that of all of the coaches that are currently available to be both requested and hired, that Mike McDaniel is the one who most clearly elevates the players on the field because of what he brings to the table as a schematic mind? Because I think that you could look at what Mike McDaniel did in Miami and say, had he been put in a better situation quarterback-wise, things would have been a lot different for the Dolphins.
Yeah, he gave Tua his best years.
Chicken salad is what Mike McDaniel was making with chicken bleep.
If you think little of Tua Tagovailoa, then that would definitely be your opinion, I would imagine.
I think because I'm looking at these coaches by, all right, what is your greatest strength? If Harbaugh is his CEO, leadership type, Mike McDaniel is not that, right? He's got some cringy post-game press conference moments that don't look good when you're 6-7 or 7-10, however they finish this year.
Very Gen Z.
Yeah, he's
not technically Gen Z.
I don't know that is what you want representing your franchise in downtime.
Is he a millennial? Where did millennials start? He was born in 83. Where does that start? 85?
That was 2 years before WrestleMania. He is considered an old.
He's an old? Okay,
yes.
Very good.
It doesn't come off as one. He comes off like very Gen Z.
So,
hitting vapes on the sideline.
Do you want, is it more important to have steadying hand in Atlanta, Miami, New York, Tennessee, Vegas, theoretically, although Vegas was not mentioned for Harbaugh by Breer? Doesn't mean that he won't interview there. It's just interesting that it wasn't mentioned. What is more important here right now for where the Titans are? The steadying presence or the guy that's going to give you a little bit of an edge because he can get the best version of Alec Iamaner that Alec Iamaner will ever be in his career?
Everything we've heard from Mike Borgonzi would indicate the former.
Steady the ship.
Yes. Leader.
Yes. And then you can figure out the coordinator hires as a result. So, if you're Harbaugh, for me, out of the lot of them, and Robert, we can have this conversation tomorrow because Titans fans got very, very mad at me for ranking the Titans job 5th out of a possible 8 when somebody on Twitter asked me to rank them below the Raiders, the Falcons, and a couple of others. I think that Atlanta is being criminally slept on in this process, and I think that the salary cap stuff is something that, like, you can figure out the salary cap hurdles that they've got for the roster that they have.
That quarterback situation is tricky.
But it's not Tua, right? Like, you can move some parts around with the quarterback position in Atlanta. Miami's just kind of stuck with Tua for the foreseeable future. Like, it's not an immovable object from a salary cap perspective the way that Atlanta's had Kirk Cousins make some adjustments to his contract. They got Michael Penix in. Penix is going to be in his 4th year coming off the knee injury?
Yeah, coming into the 3rd.
Well, yes, that's easy to say right now, though, not knowing if Michael Penix Jr. can stay healthy for a whole season. Like, Atlanta is just as stuck as Miami if Michael Penix Jr. cannot prove to be a consistently available player, base level, just being available, let alone to figure out if he can lead a franchise at quarterback. We just have no idea.
Why wouldn't you try to move Penix?
Because I don't think the return on investment would be great. Like, moving on him wouldn't help your salary cap. All it would do would be to open up a spot, which you don't have a first-round pick to draft a quarterback to fill that spot.
Sure.
This next year kind of feels like a lame duck, play with your own toys kind of year for the Falcons, where once you get your first-round pick back in 2027, then you can try to make a solution. But, like, I wouldn't necessarily say, because moving off of Kirk Cousins would almost – I would say it would have to be a post-June 1 cut. You only make $2.1 million by cutting him before. So you don't get a ton of money this year either way. And I think that kind of takes them out of the Kyler Murray conversation.
Why are we not talking about them starting Kirk, though? They went 5-2 with Kirk Cousins.
I think it's the inconsistencies. He wasn't great in the wins, and he wasn't, like, terrible in the losses. It's just what you're going to get with him. And then also the precedent you would set of, okay, we benched Kirk for Penix. And it's like, okay, we're going to go back to Kirk now. We should have maybe stuck with him.
The argument is different front office, different coach.
And then that hurts your argument for moving Penix, because then you lose leverage in moving him because he wasn't good enough to start for you over a guy that you thought he was good enough to start over anyway, but then you went back to the old guy. So, I mean, the Falcons are in a damned if you do, damned if you don't moment, which in my opinion makes it even a higher threshold or a higher need for them to get Harbaugh because you need someone to set the sails for this year. You just have to get through this year of playing with your own toys, and then we can figure it out for the years to come. That would be the argument for and against Atlanta, in my opinion.
I want to have this conversation with all 8 of these jobs tomorrow. We can do that when we've got a little more wiggle room. But we will talk about a wild card weekend with Brett Kern coming up next.
It is 12:01. Good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. There is one game remaining in NFL wildcard weekend. Tonight, the Steelers host the Houston Texans. The winner will travel to New England next weekend to take on the Patriots. Kickoff at 7:15. You can hear the Westwood One coverage right here on The Zone. Meanwhile, the Rams, Bears, Niners, and Bills all have moved on to the divisional round. College football, the national championship game is set. Indiana routed Oregon 56-22 on Friday, never in question. And the Hoosiers will take on Miami at Hard Rock Stadium a week from today. In other college football news, Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt has reportedly committed to play for LSU. Leavitt was on campus as a visitor at Tennessee just this past week. He hits the portal and heads to play for Lane Kiffin. The Titans coaching search continues over the weekend. The team has spoken with former Cowboys coach Jason Garrett, former Browns coach Kevin Stefanski, and former Falcons coach Raheem Morris. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
All right, I feel like I haven't seen Brett Kern in 100 years because I have missed both the last Monday and Friday segment that you have been in here for, but it's good to see you, buddy.
You're a traveling man.
Just trying to keep up. I'm a bandwagon man at this point in time.
That's okay.
I will be out.
At least you went there.
Thank you. You see, it's okay to be a bandwagon fan.
You got one.
You went there though, so that gives you some cred.
I will be in the house on Monday night for the national championship. I just got confirmation of my tickets.
There we go.
So we will see.
That's one pricey ticket.
Well,
I guess
I back channeled.
Well, I mean, face value, you're good, but I'm saying secondary market.
I saw
secondary market's
it's going to be like World Cup stuff.
So we were World Cup. I mean, I can't wait. We may have to have you back in here for a special World Cup.
I'll tell you what, I was doing some searching with Bryce, and there's potential that Messi and Ronaldo could potentially play in Kansas City for a quarterfinal game.
Think about that sentence: Messi and Ronaldo in Kansas City.
You don't even want to know what tickets are starting at right now.
I don't know if y'all saw the FIFA. Like, we heard your claims. We were offering. It was like 60 seats at each game for like $200 or something. Like something insane. We heard you. You're welcome. This doesn't help anybody. You're going to help like 1% of the people going to these games.
Unbelievable.
What is resale? Just curious. Like just 200 level at Hard Rock Stadium. What are we talking? Like $9,000? The
lowest price that I saw once the championship was finalized, because as soon as Miami got in at Miami, went through the roof. The lowest get-in price I saw was $8,500.
Wow.
I mean, that's about what that World Cup game could fetch.
Yeah.
That was closer to $10,000. And that was upper deck.
So I am not paying $8,000. I called in every ask that I am capable of calling in, and I said, listen, just on the front end, shamelessly, I am just talking to you because I want tickets to this national championship game.
Maybe
my
you
connect
and
was able to come through.
You and NWI could hang out together.
Well, I'm gonna try and get Roger on the show this week. I don't know if I don't have Nick's contact, but I do have Saffold's, so I would imagine that Roger would be there.
The prices are dropping.
Oh, really?
If you are in the nosebleeds of all nosebleeds, it's only $3,400 to get in the door now.
This is like Super Bowl stuff.
Well, that's the thing. I wonder how much of it is just because Miami is at home.
I have 3 tickets, 50-yard line, row in 72 Club, row 9, for $22,000 a piece.
Yes.
Oh, my.
Well,
it says you can finance them, though. So, I mean, as low as $1,300 a month for the next 36 months. That's like another rent check.
Just be paying off your national championship
we can make
tickets.
that work.
I'm telling you. So my college roommate, one of them works in private equity out in Los Angeles. And he was like, would you be willing to pay $15,000 if we can and get in? And I said, Evan.
Who are you talking to? Of course.
You could have maybe got me, maybe around $7K, but 15 grand, get out of here. Like you are, I'll sit outside in the parking lot in Hard Rock and watch it on a television, you know?
Well, since you're just throwing money around willy-nilly, Lego dropped a Pokemon collab today.
No.
With it's $650 for Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard in one like mosaic piece.
You should be able to buy this with the box of childhood Pokemon cards I gave you to sell. That
They
you
were
never
all
did anything
sticky
with
and
it.
scratched and licked by a child, dude. None of those cards were any good, and they only sold for like $4,000. So, and I've already blown through that money. So
Yes,
unless
I'm
you have
aware.
another box of more cards for me to sell, then I'm SOL.
Who had the most impressive win of Wild Card Weekend, Brett? Because you had the Patriots dominate the Chargers, and that's one. You've got the Bears coming back 21-3 against the Green Bay Packers. You had San Francisco, who was doing it with basically the four of us out there on offense and defense at this point in time. They are almost completely out of players that you would recognize. There are impressive wins all over the place. Who do you think had the greatest degree of difficulty en route to a win?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably say Buffalo. To go on the road in Jacksonville, a team that was hot. Ben was talking about earlier, like the one time there's no Lamar, there's no Burrow, there's no Mahomes. Josh Allen, as far as weapons on offense, take away Cook. From a wide receiver standpoint, there's really nobody. Shakir, obviously, he was targeted 12 times yesterday, had 12 catches for 82 yards, so that's clutch. But I'm saying as far as that true number one, Josh doesn't really have. So I think to go down there and get that win, I think the Green Bay-Chicago game, for me, Green Bay more or less, came out, took advantage of the first half situations. They score on their first, I think it was scored a touchdown on his first three possessions. But then to start the second half, they started with 4 punts. And then obviously, McManus and missing an extra point, missing 2 field goals that really kind of swung the game, that allowed Chicago to get back into it. And then, the Philly-Niners game, I mean, look, Niners did what they were supposed to do, and Philly just, it's really a microcosm of their season. It's one half looks really good. Second half is, they go 2 for 9 on third downs in the second half. They can't move the ball, and that's even with winning the turnover battle. San Francisco had 2 turnovers and Philly had none. And so they just really could not do anything in that second half. So, personally, I think, for Buffalo to go on the road to do what they did, how they did it, you got Matthew Stafford end of the game drive to get the dub, and then here, Josh Allen doing the same thing. Just pretty impressive.
How about Josh Allen and this collection of pass catchers, I guess you could say, that he has in Buffalo? Brandon Cooks. Who forgot about Brandon Cooks?
Not me. He's a postseason god. Brandon Cooks has been around for 100 years. How many Super Bowls has Brandon Cooks played in?
I was just about to ask you all that. Do you know?
Oh
no, 2.
I'm gonna say 3
for sure.
3.
With the Patriots. Did he get there with the Patriots?
3 sounds right.
He sure as hell got there with the Rams.
He had 1 season in New England, and I can't remember if he was there for that when they played Jared Goff and the Rams in the title.
He was on a Super Bowl team in that Super Bowl. I can't remember which Super Bowl team he was on. I want to say he was on that Rams team.
Brandon Cooks has 0 Super Bowl wins.
0, yes.
He was with the Rams when they lost to New England, and he was with. This is Google AI. This looks fishy.
No, you're right. He does not have a Super Bowl. He was in New England in 2017, and then went to LA in 2018. Met New England in the Super Bowl and lost. But he has multiple NFL records, journeyman, and here he is.
He was killing him.
Killed it.
Does anybody know his nickname?
No.
According to Pro Football Reference, it is the Archer, Brandon Cooks.
Oh, he was one of the first people to get fined for that as a celebration.
You would think he would have been Brandon the Kitchen Cooks or something. Like I wouldn't have never said the Archer. Like
the
Cooks,
Kitchen.
Cooks is such a Brandon Pots and Pans Cooks. Like there's a million things he could have been besides the Archer.
How old would you? Robert's probably seen it, but how old would you guys wager that he is?
32.
29.
I'd wager he's
29.
He's
No,
sneaky young.
he's 32.
Okay.
in 109 days.
Buffalo native Brett Kern. How much pressure is on Sean McDermott through these playoffs, or does one road win, the first road win of their respective careers, make enough of a difference to kind of tamp down some of that heat?
I think it does. I mean, I think more pressure's on Denver. Who's
what I said. Lucas looked at me like I was crazy.
Who's the team that knocked out Denver last year? It's Buffalo, in Buffalo.
Oh, it was a blowout.
It was a blowout.
Yeah.
I think as the number one seed, being a part of a team that was the number one seed, there's a lot of pressure. You get that bye, so you're supposed to be rested. You're supposed to be healed up, as best as you can be. You've had rest. You've had more time to prepare. There's just more pressure. You have a home game. It's different when you have a home game and you're the number one seed. The pressure there than if you're Buffalo's case, the 6th seed, and you're on the road. It's like, well, I mean, they're on the road. There's no way. There's just a lot stacked against you. You're not, you don't have enough to go down to beat Jacksonville. You don't have enough weapons. And I just think, honestly, there's more pressure on Denver. Once again, Josh is going to have to play an amazing game. But I think, getting this win in Jacksonville, saves his job. Because really, I mean, Buffalo is, if you get a number one wide receiver in there, that's a totally different looking offense too.
That tells you the kind of year it's been in the NFL where Lamar, Mahomes, Burrow are all at home during the playoffs, yet Josh Allen and the Bills, if they're going to get to the Super Bowl, they got to go on the road every single week of the postseason to do it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the sort of season that it's been.
We did that, the year that we went and beat New England on the road, and then you come back, you beat Baltimore on the road, and then obviously we had to go to Kansas City in the AFC Championship, and it's a lot.
Had a 10-point lead on them.
3 weeks in a row.
Wide receiver Dennis Kelly.
Yeah, the Undertaker. It's hard. It's hard to win 3 games on the road, especially in the playoffs when you're playing against really good teams that normally have really good defenses. But, it's Josh Allen. The dude's just, he puts the team on his back and goes out and competes.
We'll continue to break down Wild Card Weekend, the divisional round matchups, and the Titans coaching search with Brett Kern next. Brett Kern is here. Welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. One game left to finish out the divisional round matchups in the NFL, and there are some special teams questions to be asked, including one from Ted in Hendersonville. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Also on 1045 The Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Ted has a question for Brett. Hey, Ted.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. With NFL teams attempting longer and longer field goals, I wonder if it's allowed to put some player at the back of the end zone with huge hops. It's like Calvin Johnson. Put him at the back of the end zone and goaltend as the ball is coming down and block it from entering, going through the uprights. Just wondering.
I love this.
I mean, that's a great question. I mean, has it ever been attempted?
Not that specifically. The only example I can think of what he's talking about, you remember that Patriots-Dolphins game a couple years ago where they put Gronk back there.
Yeah.
Belichick had Gronk back there
As a DB.
As a defensive back. Yeah.
That didn't
for a
work
Hail
out.
Mary situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, was it Mostert that just put him on skates or something like that?
Yes.
It was Tannehill was the quarterback. It was like a Miami Miracle.
Like a Miami Miracle. Yeah, that's what they call it. Now, that's obviously an offensive play. That's the closest kind of approximation I can think of to what the guy's talking about.
Well, I think he's thinking if it's a long field, let's say you have a 65-yard field goal and they attempt a field goal. Normally, if you put somebody back there, DK was on, I think there were a couple of times this year long field goals where DK was back there standing
in Jacksonville.
Yep. And so I think what he's saying is as the ball comes down from its apex, do you have somebody that has, well, first of all, the vertical ability to block it? Like it'd be like in essence, it'd be goaltending. It'd be goaltending, but can you do that?
It would have to be barely clearing the crossbar for you
what
to
if
be
you had
able
somebody like get down on all fours and you had a guy do like a running jump, catapult off his back and just swat it?
Or someone could boost him. Like you put your hands together, interlock your fingers, and then time it up perfectly to launch him into the air.
So that is illegal. So it is illegal for a defensive player to jump for the uprights using leverage or jumping off of another player. Now, what wouldn't be illegal, it says, however, a player can legally jump and block a kick if they are in a stationary position away from the line of scrimmage and don't use another player for the lift. It says that's highly unlikely that someone would do this. But I don't know if y'all seen the videos of like Fred Warner running up buildings. Like if anyone was going to do this,
that's not real.
You don't think so?
No.
Yeah.
It's just a dude with dreads doing like a parkour thing. That's not actually Fred Warner,
Have you ever seen him? Yes, it's Fred Warner. Have you ever seen him do the kicks, like the tornado kicks?
No, he's a freakishly athletic dude. I'm pretty sure that's not Fred Warner scaling the side of a building like Spider-Man.
That's definitely Fred Warner.
What if some team goes out? Who's that tall guy? That kid from Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, the 7'6" guy or whatever he is.
You guys remember that praying mantis guy? He was like almost 8 feet tall, but he was skin and bones, not very just find the tallest guy you can get to block them.
The most situational player.
Yes.
Active, part of the active, just to go block a field goal that might never happen.
Or Olivier Roux.
Olivier Roux and kicking if you bring him to the NFL.
Anyway. Okay, Brett Kern. Famous for punting. Why do these coaches refuse to punt on fourth down in the playoffs? What is going on? Dave Canales is drunk with power on fourth down, it seems.
Oh, man. I mean, to come out, the first drive to come out in your own territory, and then obviously for the Rams to go down 4 plays later, score with Nakua. I don't know. I think there's obviously a lot of teams that look into analytics and to go for it. You got somebody in your ear telling you, the analytics, what they say. I just have a hard time with it just because you're passing up points. And it's, you just take a look at the Buffalo game. Lawrence throws an interception. The Bills, they only netted 1 yard, right? They had a penalty delay game. They only netted 1 yard, but they got 3 points. And then Jacksonville comes down. They do a great job. They score. They're up 7-3. And then on the ensuing kickoff, Davis fumbles. They get the ball at the 36. They go down 4th and 2. Obviously the call is challenged. It's reversed. Buffalo gets the ball. And they come down. You could be up 10-3 if you go for that field goal. But instead, they don't get it. Buffalo marches down 10 plays, 92 yards, gets a TD, and it just really just threw off the scoring, right? It could be 10-10. It could be tied up, and then here you go. You got this 54-yarder in kind of a fluke, crazy play at the end of the half there. But they were rewarded, 1 second left, opportunity for a field goal, 54-yarder for a guy that clearly has the leg to do it. And you could either, you could be up 13-10 in that situation, or, it's tied 10-10. But, it's just there's this fascination, going back to Dan Campbell. If you guys remember the 2023 NFC Championship game and how, they were up 24-10 and it was 4th and 2 from the 28. Obviously, you go kick a field goal. It's a 3-score game, and you don't do that, and it launches. I think San Francisco scored 20-some points, unanswered. Next thing you know, San Francisco's up 34-24, and there was another opportunity for them to tie it, even when San Francisco went up 3 points. Dan Campbell went for it again on 4th down, didn't get it instead of tying the game. And on the road, NFC Championship game, it's just, I don't know. I mean, teams are doing it. More teams are fascinated with doing it. The Chargers did it last night. They get that turnover, that tip play by Drake May, and they get the ball at the 10-yard line. It's 4th and 2 on the 2-yard line or whatever, 3-yard line, and they try to go for it. They don't get it instead of just taking the points. And in the playoffs, you can get away with that in the or in the regular season. You can get away with it, but points are so valuable. And you look at some of these games, how many games came down to the last 2 minutes. How many? I think there's 4 lead changes alone in that Bills Jacksonville game. And so I just have a hard time with teams passing up points because here at the end of the day, you lose a game by 3. And these games are so close, and, going for it on 4th down can cost you.
Just in the 2 Saturday games alone, 59 total fourth-quarter points scored between those teams. It's just outrageous.
In just those 2 alone?
Yes.
And they were pretty evenly split because 31 in the Bears-Packer game, and then
And Ben Johnson, early in that game, he's going for it in 4th down in his own territory, and that allows Green Bay, like I said, they scored 3 touchdowns in the first 3 possessions. And so now they're having to dig out of a hole, which obviously they've been doing all year. We talked about it on Friday. They could probably beat Green Bay. They're probably going to come back and make a game of this. But at what point, can they do that against the Rams? I don't know. If they beat the Rams, can you do it against the Seahawks? Probably not. If the Seahawks beat the 49ers, there's already my early pick. But, it's just you reserve the right to punt. I remember Vrabel, when I was talking about inside the 20s, I was happy if I got it inside the 20, and he dogged me out after one that was on the 14. I'm like, man, this is inside the 20. Why are you getting so upset at me, man? And
hey man, why are you so mad at me?
You're a lot bigger than me. I'm just gonna keep my distance. But what's going on? So then I end up talking to Stretch the Monday after the game. I was like, man, why was Vrabel so upset at me? And he wanted the ball inside the 10, and Stretch was like, man, I got all this data on just where teams start. If you're starting at the 5, you're starting at the 10, the 15, the 20, and just the percentage difference of just the ability to score, to have a team go the whole stretch of the field to get a touchdown or even just points in general for a field goal. It was remarkable. A team starting on the 5, for them to be able to just get a field goal, let alone a touchdown, compared to them starting on the 15 or the 20. It was 10 to 15, percentage difference. And so for me, that was like, holy smokes, this is crazy. If I can just get the ball, inside the 10, let alone at the 5, how much easier it makes it on our defense to stop them and for us to get field position going back. But you reserve the right to punt, especially in the playoffs when field position is at a premium and points are at a premium. So
can always arm punt it, like the Bears did on one of those 4th downs. That always drives me insane, Brett. There's very few things that, as a layman, drive me crazier than, on behalf of that fan base, the Packers, Carrington Valentine intercepts a Caleb Williams deep ball on a 4th down that cost the Packers 30 yards of field position. Yep. It's you just netted your team negative 30 yards, and he's celebrating on the sideline. I never understand how that doesn't lead to just a complete ass chewing. And maybe it does. That we don't see it. But that always makes me want to pull my hair out. The celebration. Did you not know it was 4th down? You know what I mean?
I think there's just I don't know. I think it's in them to, if you can get the ball, get the ball. And I think the situational awareness at that time, in that moment, to just bat that thing down. Because when he threw that pick, I was like, oh, that's a good punt. That's a great punt.
Yeah, yeah,
It's great.
exactly.
Like the ball, I think they started at the 8. I'm like, in Chicago, in that weather with that wind, that's great. There's a good chance he's punting that. That might be a touchback.
Bears were on like the 40 of the Packers.
Yeah.
Literally cost his team
And
30 yards.
we were talking about special teams, with the Rams, their 5 losses. I think special teams has contributed mightily in 3 of those games.
Oh, for sure.
Giving Shaheed that punt return in Seattle to get him back into the game. They've had some missed kicks. But even yesterday, you get that block punt on your 2x6 rush. You have a lot of the dressing, the eye candy over there on the right side with the 6 rushers, and really all it is just a 2-on-2 matchup on the left side. And sometimes you just run a simple twist, a little pick. And but in this case, some teams will have kind of the guys on that left side, that those 2 guys, they'll kind of peel off just to kind of protect the fake. And that's all it took. You just a little stutter and boom, there you go. And, Rams the Panthers were able to capitalize, but they left too much time on the clock with Matt Stafford.
I think Indiana blocked a punt up like 56-14 or something.
Yes.
On Friday.
Yes.
How surprised were you by how dominant that was? Just how the game was over.
That dominant?
Yeah.
Just to start.
They had a 42-point lead at one point.
I was at my daughter's basketball practice, and I had my phone on. I was like, all right, yeah, I'm just going to watch the start of this game, and the first play is pick 6. I'm like, yeah, we're done. I just shut it off and just started watching my daughter play basketball. So just dominant.
That first meeting in Eugene was such a knockdown drag. They won by 10, but
right.
They made that separation right at the end of the game. It was a sloppy game, just kind of a punch you in the mouth. Tougher team gets out with the win. And the last thing you expected with the spot in the national championship game on the line was 35-7 at the half.
They're good. They're really good. What do you think Dan Moore does? Do you think he goes? Because I saw Raiola.
Dante Moore?
Sorry, Dante Moore.
Yeah.
Because I saw Raiola's going to.
He's headed to Oregon, the Nebraska transfer, and everybo's waiting.
Dante Moore can't declare after that.
That's the thing. If you do, well,
he's young. He's young too.
He has only been a starter for one season at Oregon, but he started games under Chip Kelly at UCLA. People forget he was recruited as a 5-star to UCLA.
Oh, wow.
Started games there as a true freshman under Chip Kelly, transferred to Oregon, waited a year behind Dylan Gabriel, and now here he is. Yes, it's a terrible way to end your season, but Dante Moore could absolutely still end up being QB2 in this draft. Like, we're sitting here in January, but there's a real scenario where Dante Moore is ruining the Jets as the number 2 overall pick, going to the New York Jets in a bad situation. But I think we all agree, best case scenario for the Titans is he declares, right? As many quarterbacks at the top of the first round. It might be a pipe dream to think that there's going to be 3 quarterbacks that could even allow for any wiggle room for a team trying to trade into the top 4. But might as well swing for the fences.
Somebody in the YouTube chat points this out, which is fair. They say, that's how I felt about Ty Simpson, Buck. They lost, 31-3 in the Rose Bowl?
38-3.
38-3 in the Rose Bowl, and he comes out with, cracked ribs and a hand that got stepped on. And I thought there was no way that he would declare. And, of course, he's now in the NFL draft, and people are offering outrageous sums of money for him to go places like Tennessee and things like that.
Must have liked what he heard in the feedback.
I want to pivot back to the NFL because the Philadelphia Eagles lose at home. And speaking of people who get irrationally upset about things that you can't understand, like Mike Vrabel getting after your ass with a punt at the 14 as opposed to inside the 10.
Yeah.
Philadelphia fans losing at home to that Niners team that, again, has no players left and is just willing themselves to wins all over the place. What can you just, as somebody who did spend a brief period of time at the end of your career in Philadelphia, how would you best describe that atmosphere that is currently taking place on this Monday after they get bounced at home?
From inside the locker room, or just like
all of it, top to bottom?
Well, the fans, that's a different story. I'm sure the police were called to multiple issues, just people being extremely upset, and probably some cars burning. Shoot, I don't know.
Patullo's house got egged, and that was during the regular season.
Yeah. I personally like Coach Sirianni as a coach. They just got a lot of personalities in that room. in that locker room, and I think they wear their emotions on their sleeves, and then I think the media up there just takes a hold of it, grabs it, and just tries to spin stories off of it. Because when you're in that locker room, everybody's fine. Everybody gets along. Everybody's joking. We got a basketball hoop set up in the team meeting room, and guys are playing pig and all that. Like, I mean, it's a really good environment. Coaches are great. A lot of guys. When you're eating a meal together, it's not like the O linemen are just with the O linemen, or the DBs and safeties are with each other. Like, everybody's mixed, which is to me, it's a sign of just the health of the team, of the locker room. They
tried that this year in Tennessee, for what it's worth. It did not, I don't think, have the entirely desired effect, but
Well, it has to happen organically, naturally. And up there it did. And so I just think that, the spat between, Sirianni and AJ yesterday, like, that's AJ. He's vocal. He says what he wants to say. And Nick is honestly kind of the same way.
Well, no way. Sirianni was the aggressor in that situation.
He's the same way. He's very passionate, which is something I respect. And so, I don't know. I'll be curious to see what happens up there. I think it'd be crazy to let Sirianni go. But
would you be surprised? Like, if he ended up
fired?
I wouldn't,
just because it's the NFL. I mean, like, Harbaugh got fired.
Sure.
I mean, you talk about, a 44-yard field goal being made, and, they're playing tonight.
yeah.
And do you think he gets fired? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just the NFL. Decisions are made quickly, sometimes rationally. And so, I mean, would I be surprised if he gets fired? No. Would I be surprised if he stays? Absolutely not. That's football. That's the NFL. It's a crazy business. They've also been through coordinators too. Whether it's Steichen, Moore, now obviously down the head boss man in New Orleans, and KP taking over this year, and it's hard. We were talking about the conversation with your head coach. As far as you bringing in an offensive guy versus defensive guy, and when you bring in a defensive guy, like, are you constantly changing out offensive systems? Look what happened in Tampa. Right?
Yeah.
They're on their, fourth coordinator in 4 years now?
And they're interviewing Brian Callahan.
And it's tough.
Are they?
Yeah.
For the OC job.
Tampa.
It's tough. It's tough to sustain a high-level offense when you keep, cycling out coordinators like that. And so Philly's kind of in the same boat. Obviously, defense is good. You're looking great. Quinyon Mitchell, 2 picks, got burned up a little bit on that first possession, but, he responded well.
Go Rockets.
Go Rockets, and had 2 interceptions, for him yesterday. But, I think it's hard to sustain a level of consistent offense when you're cycling through coordinators like that.
So we're kind of keeping tabs on Philly here.
Yeah.
It feels like LaFleur's going to remain in Green Bay. That seems like where it's trending at the very least. Are we going to totally rule out if the Steelers just get stuffed tonight at home? Are we going to totally rule out things coming to a head in Pittsburgh between Mike Tomlin and the organization the way it did with John Harbaugh somewhat unexpectedly last week?
Ramon pointed this out last week, that there is a team option for the Steelers on Mike Tomlin on his contract, so it bears monitoring.
The option to fire him?
The option to not pick up an additional year of the contract. So just essentially it would be a more extreme parting of ways, but it would be
right off into the sunset.
I think the hard part too is like, okay, you fire him, but what's your plan A? Like, you don't want to be Penn State. Like, yes, they got Matt Campbell. That is a great hire. Guy used to coach at Toledo. I mean, had really good success at Iowa State. But it's like, what's your plan A? Like, if you fire him,
hire Harbaugh. Let's get weird.
Because I'd be curious too with Matt LaFleur. Like, does he, if he's done in Green Bay, does he go down to Miami? Right, and follow. Who just got hired down there?
It's a hyphenated name.
It was John Eric Sullivan.
Sullivan.
Green Bay. Right.
So what does that present itself? So I guess the fans, like, your rash decision is be like, well, we just got, if they do get blown out against the Texans, which I think is going to be a pretty close game, you just like, well, we're firing him. Well, then I hope you have a plan A, because the last thing you want to do is fire somebody like Tomlin. I would even say the same thing for the Ravens. Like, okay, you got rid of Harbaugh, but now what?
You just know that if they do lose and they look uninspiring on offense and Aaron Rodgers decides to hang it up, it's just right back to square one. And we're going to hear the same rhetoric from Pittsburgh that we've been hearing all season.
Because there's no way Rodgers is back without Tomlin. I can't even. Yeah, so you're dealing with a whole different level of uncertainty if you decide that's. And by the way, if they do get stuffed in a locker, Tomlin may decide that he doesn't want to do this anymore.
Do you think with Pittsburgh though, Aaron Rodgers he's been efficient. But what if, I always play the what if Josh Allen was the quarterback for the Steelers?
I still think they have a hard time, but I don't think they're underdogs at home. Right now, they are 3-point underdogs in Pittsburgh. The Steelers are. So are you just one player away? Like Atlanta, you look at the Atlanta situation. To me in Atlanta, you got Kirk Cousins. Like you said, they finished the year 5-2.
5-2. You have the weapons. You have Drake London. You have obviously one of the best out of the backfield. Just get your playmakers the ball and let them do it. You don't have to be a game manager. That's all you got to be.
Pittsburgh's defense is expensive and older. Their offensive line is not good. Their quarterback situation has a huge question mark on it, and their best skill position player is DK Metcalf. And I don't know how much you want to, with all respect to DK, who's a good player, I don't know that that's enough. It's just. I think that Pittsburgh is in a pretty fraught situation. So
then, would you say that Tomlin's doing a great job for what he's given?
I think Mike Tomlin's done a good job every year that he's been there, but I'm not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan who wants his head on a spike.
Has he ever done a bad coaching job?
I can't say enough good things about Mike Tomlin and the job that he does. And every time I'm in Pittsburgh, that people want him gone.
But those are their problems. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's so easy for us. We haven't seen a winning season here since 2021 to say, oh, you just be quiet and be happy. But their problems in Pittsburgh they are in purgatory, that they have felt stuck in this. And I think it's okay to demand more of that for an organization.
Sure. Well, what do you think about San Francisco? Shanahan.
I think he's the coach of the year. I think given his responsibilities and how much direct impact he has on the way that team plays,
right,
versus Vrabel, who I think is doing an excellent job, but I also think Josh McDaniels is doing an excellent job. But I think Drake May is doing an excellent job. In San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan's doing it with Mac Jones, Brock Purdy, backup tight ends, backup third string linebackers after Fred Warner. They got no dudes left.
Yeah, I was just trying to make a comparison in the sense of Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, he's been to a Super Bowl, hasn't won it. Tomlin's won a Super Bowl.
I think Niners fans. I think Niners fans.
I'm saying, though?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, you're doing a great job. We're obviously, you can only use the injury bug so many times. Because then you have to start looking at, okay, well, we're constantly getting injured. So what's going on? Is it the practices? Is it the training camp? Is it the grass, the turf we're playing on? I know they play on grass out there. They practice on grass. Is it the training staff? What's going on with rehabilitation?
Yeah, people just start grasping at straws because they started that with you guys with Vrabel. And I was like, I feel like vets get more days off here than under any coaching staff I've previously covered. I don't think that's a thing, but I'm not at practice every day. Anyway, we have we could do this for a whole nother hour, but our time with Brett Kern has come to an end, which we greatly appreciate.
Absolutely.
We will see you again on Friday, my friend.
Yes, sir.
All right, last call for phone calls. If you got them, we'll wrap the show coming up next. Sing it, baby. Oh. ABBA echoing through the halls of Mercedes-Benz Stadium as Indiana dominated Oregon because our Lord and Savior, Fernando Mendoza, had done it again.
You know, the problem here is
don't talk over this. Don't denigrate Fernando Mendoza or ABBA. Respect the song.
Love the song. I prefer Lady Gaga's Alejandro, where she mentions Fernando.
Garbage.
But, like, you could have very credibly been on this train from the jump. Like, as an Indiana alum, you could have been on this last year when they were in the playoff, when they were beating Penn State this year, but you chose to wait until they get to the national championship game to suddenly fully embrace them.
The semifinal.
Yes, the game before the national championship game.
And this is completely fair, and it's going to drive people crazy, and I get to have all the nice things and none of the bad stuff, which makes me very happy, and I'm going to be at the national championship on Monday night. Suck it, nerds.
Yeah, but it's not real. It's not. You don't get any real joy out of it.
Listen to me. You as a fan police that you tend to do around here, you have to understand something, okay? It has never meant anything to me because I never participated in it. It was never a thing. We never went to an Indiana football game.
Oh, sure.
This was my first Indiana football game, and I felt all of the things that you have been asking me why I don't feel, because I was in the house to see it happen in front of me, and it was awesome.
But you hide behind that Indiana fans never really cared about Indiana football, which totally, I totally believe that. That is true. But you hide behind that as though everybody else waited until, what was it, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
If it's okay for Mark Cuban to do it, it's okay for me to do it. Okay?
What is your financial stipend to the College of Indiana?
Yeah, I think you two are in a slightly different situation.
Listen, I would be willing to give money to Indiana football. Just for how much fun I had. Like, you could have gotten me to write a check.
For like $300. Like, thanks, we got a medicine ball.
Whatever, man.
I know why he's
But
doing
you know how many people, you know how many farmers across the state of Indiana are sending in $50 here and, $1,000 there and $2,500 here because this thing is awesome.
Yeah, and they were probably watching. They were probably rooting for their team in the playoff last year, as opposed to against their team like you did.
I rooted for my team. I just happened to switch teams.
I think that Buck is just blinding himself because he knows what happened Saturday through this Saturday is what would really hurt him. Losing to top 10 Nebraska.
That really hurt me.
At home by 6.
Is that what happened?
Nebraska is like 16-0. They're really good.
So they're a basketball school now.
Then tomorrow, you play number 12 Michigan State.
No, I know. I'm in hell.
At Michigan State.
Oh, yeah.
And then on Saturday, you go back home to where does Indiana play? What's it called?
Assembly Hall?
The Bloomington Center.
Do they have a cool thing like the Dean Dome?
I mean, Assembly Hall's all right.
Okay, Assembly Hall. Number 19, Iowa comes to Indiana.
Oh.
So you could have 3.
When they lose to Dusty May, who I wanted to be the coach and who has Michigan. I mean, is Michigan the number 1 team in the country right now in college basketball? They've got to be close. They're excellent.
Who is number 1?
Michigan. When they lose to Michigan, that will hurt me. And you're right. Like, honest to God, Robert, nothing hurts me more. It doesn't matter what happens, with any team here locally in Nashville. It doesn't matter really what happens in the national championship game because, honest to God, if they go to the national championship game and they lose to Miami in a close game, it's still a good thing. Like, they still did something that nobody ever thought them capable of doing.
No, they've already done that.
Well, for sure. So, like, it's still a good season. Like, Indiana basketball is the only way to actually hurt me.
Michigan dropped. They fell.
Number 2.
Yes.
Wisconsin beat them.
Arizona's number 1 now.
Wisconsin beat them because Wisconsin's not very good this year, and I think they got Michigan like they caught Michigan with their pants down.
I'm not seeing the loss to Wisconsin on here. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
We've got to have her in here to explain that joke at some point.
The good thing about you is you don't have to play Michigan for the rest of the year until your Big Ten championship. So
Arizona's number 1.
Say again?
You don't have to play Michigan again this year in the regular season until your Big Ten championship.
Vandy up to number 10, by the way.
Vandy rolling too, man.
Tennessee dropped to 24 after getting dusted by Florida on the road.
So I am I'm curious to see how this game plays out tonight. I don't know. How do we feel about Houston going to New England? I guess we can talk about that tomorrow. But that still feels like a matchup where the Patriots at home should be able to get one on C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, who has postseason experience. But I suppose Houston has to win this game first. They're 3.5-point favorites in Pittsburgh. The Texans are. I think they're just going to. I think the Texans or the Steelers are just going to get swamped.
38.5 is the over/under.
All right, some rapid fire polls at your convenience.
It is not convenient at all.
Do it anyway.
Can you give us an a cappella poll intro?
Let's put a smile on that face. Here we go. I don't know another one to pick.
Presented by Two Rivers Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer. What is the best landing spot for John Harbaugh? Unsurprisingly, 58% of the audience say the Titans.
We know what's best for you. I promise.
I mean, the amount of coping, and I asked Lucas this during a commercial break. I want to yell at Titans fans about them trying to tell me that their new stadium is going to make a shred of difference why a coach would come here. We're going to do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't just being a brat about it because I think that's so stupid.
Well, I think you, have a natural proclivity to, rank them lower on something than higher on something.
Oh,
and then,
for sure.
then you factor in the logic.
I know way too much about them to think anything good about them.
It's too personal for you.
A little bit of information coming out now. Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter has received interview requests from the Raiders, the Ravens, the Browns, and the Titans.
Yes. Okay. Is Kurt Cignetti doing the best coaching job in the history of sports? 71.5% say yes. 28.5% say hell yes.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, hard to think of a lot better in American sports. Which NFL team had the most impressive win?
Oh, what are you going to pull some soccer snobbery out on us? In American sports is how you couch that?
It's all apples to oranges.
Okay.
Which NFL team had the most impressive win of Wild Card Weekend? We could talk about Leicester City winning the Premier League back in 2016. ME says the 49ers. Kittle down early and still found a way to win.
Yeah, it's Chicago because for as bad as the Bears have been, the Bears never win that game. But the Niners are it's really impressive.
Yep. Those are the polls.
All right, very good. That is going to do it for us tonight. We will have a primetime show before the playoff game and Wild Card Weekend concludes. So you can come hang out with me and Robert Walsh on A to Z Sports. Blaine and Zach are next.